Welcome over back for another very special edition of the GG Millions, episode number 51, season 2024, joined by Daniel Weinand in the house, co-founder of Shopify, also very tough poker player, as I found out in our recent battle on the stream last week. Daniel, how are you?
Hey guys, good to see you, everyone.
Good to have you, man. Again, you're a businessman at heart, but your poker skills kind of, I don't want to blow your spot up too much, the price. You know what you're doing. I enjoyed playing with you. We had a lot of fun in the Ninja Nutcase stream with Helmut the ElkY. That was a blast last week, so we'll get to do a tournament style, not cash today. But I'm very curious if you've played with some of these players and how familiar you are. We are going to be playing to a winner. We got Addamo, 8-time GG Million champion. 3 players here have won before in the GG Millions. The rest have not. Very accomplished list, and we will be talking about those players and who is at the final table with what chip stack today. As we, again, we'll play to a winner about 400,000 to first place. You can see the prize pool is hefty, 1,960,000 in there, and there are 9 players that remain. So that is what they're playing for, all the way down, 56,000 guaranteed. Going to be a healthy payday for the majority of the table. Of course, 10K buy-in from Sunday. Pause, pick it up here. We play to a winner on Tuesdays, 2:45 Eastern. There you see the total entries in the field, and again, powerful group, very star-studded. We got a amazing lineup. With Addamo is not the chip leader. He is here. He does have 8 titles. Bruno Volkman is that. He's got over 100 big blinds, 106 leading. 2 Brazilians out there. Boa tarde, minha esposa brasileira. I know that the Brazilians are watching. They just are such great fans. They're such great supporters. And there they go, 1 and 2 today. Let's see how they can finish. Bryn Kenney, we don't even mention, he happens to be the #1 all-time money earner of all time in poker ever. That's ever, not in the state, in a country. 1-1 across the board, 65 million in lifetime earnings live. That is Bryn Kenney. He is here. He is the short stack. See if he can get going. And of course, some other big names. Nikita has won the GG Millions before. Very tough player. There's some other familiar faces here. And Bruno Volkman plays the Tritons, plays the highest stakes, has got a very impressive resume. Who are you familiar with, Daniel? Have you played with some of these guys? Or you recognize some?
I have, yeah. Obviously, everyone knows Addamo and Bryn. I played with Bryn a couple of times, and then I played with Nikita Kuznetsov. So I actually, like, tournament poker is kind of my love and my passion now. Like almost everyone else, I started playing cash, and then I moved to tournaments and I never looked back. So the last week when we played a cash game together, that was actually, I wouldn't say out of my comfort zone, but definitely something unusual, because I don't really play cash that often anymore. So, having over 100 big blinds in front of you is something that, I'm not doing any day.
Well, listen, we've got to tweet out. We've got giveaways going. We're going to get to know more about your tournament knowledge, as, again, you do seem very, very, what's the word? Very comfortable at the poker table and Hold'em, and we didn't talk much about PLO, if you play PLO or how much you like that, but today it's Hold'em. Got the beautiful purple background there on the table. Things look good. The action started out with the raise takedown. We are going to do red or black. If you want to choose the color, we'll do a sweat. The audience will get involved.
Yeah, I choose black.
Choose black. And this is kind of a crazy hand. We got the 3rd biggest stack here, if I'm not mistaken, 4th kind of healthy stack against a big blind Rodrigo. Wow. Who is really, generally, there is some world where he flats, but again, like, they're deep. It's ace king. The guy's opening, and he is going to pop it up. And what a spot for kings.
What a spot.
You love it. You love it. There's some risk. You could be against ace king, which you're actually only, a 2-1 favorite against, roughly. And, this is still a good spot. You're not too worried about aces. That's obviously the nightmare scenario, although that did happen the start of the stream last week. Kings to aces, it can happen. And here we go, a shove all in, and Rodrigo actually could potentially, he doesn't love it. He calls. Here we go. This is for the flip, red or black. First of all, massive pot. We're going to see a ace on the flop. It is a all red flop. Keep that in mind. Now 1 out after Rodrigo, the Brazilian, is going to hit a ridiculous card, and it is a queen on the river, and that is going to be a massive pot. What's that? Into the chip lead. Brazilians still 1 and 2. They've got so much of the chips now. Literally, that is a crazy ICM hand right there. And again, ace king, aces, ace king to kings. It's just one of those things. Could he maybe have played it differently? Possibly. He ended up going for it, and he did win the pot. He got there, and now we are 8-handed. And you said red, correct?
I said black.
Oh, you did. So okay, so you can choose. You want first pick or second and third?
I'll do second and third.
Seems like a smart choice. I am going to take Bruno Volkman with my first choice, even though he's in second. I just, he's got
because
so much
of his
experience.
avatar, or just you love the Brazilians.
Yeah, I got to. I mean, these are the definite choice here for the one, and the guy's got a lot and he's experienced, so I'm happy with that.
Okay, I'll pick the Brazilian, the other Brazilian who just won the pot, Rodrigo. And then I gotta go with Nikita Kuznetsov.
Nikita, okay, nice. Yeah. So you went down a little. I will take, in terms of chips, I'm going to take Romanovskyi, the Ukraine player there. We'll take him with the 2.5 million. He's in a pot right now. So I guess we'll each get 4 players, but you've done 2, I've done 2, and now we just alternate. So your pick.
All right, I'll take. You know what? I'll take the sensei, Bryn. Anything can happen. I'll take Bryn Kenney.
Bryn Kenney. All right, I will take. I'm gonna take Addamo, 8-time champion.
You got to take him, yeah. So then I'll take the last remaining Russian, Dimitar Danchev.
Dimitar Danchev, very talented player.
So that leaves you with,
I believe wait, where is
I can't pronounce the name. The guy from Venezuela.
Chin, but is that what it said? Okay, yeah, it's a long name there. That's so okay. Yeah, we'll go with with Chin. So okay, we got our matchup 4 and 4. It'll be $50 to the audience and a GG ticket if your players win, and it'll be a $100 ticket if my players win. So good luck to everyone. There's a tweet as well. I'll put that link up. Pin Jeff Gross Poker, and we have got a Queen 10 on the river decision. He's thinking what's going on. He does fold. Queen Jack picks it up. Excuse me. Wait, I'm confused. So I got Chin. Who is the... Okay, Nikita is the Monaco flag. That's right. I was looking at the name, but I see the Venezuela flag down there. Okay. All right. 4 and 4, fair fight.
Flag. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bryn doesn't live in Canada.
Yeah, I think that, again, that's one of those things, like I'm American, but I'm set up for playing online. I have out of the country.
Exactly.
Where you have to get it set up. You get, residence or your bank account, get it all sorted. And that means you're able to play outside of the US. So it doesn't mean it has to be in Canada. It could be anywhere in the world that is not US or other places you can't play. And that is, again, those watching, join us. Let us know where you're watching from. We are in respectively Canada and the United States, and we enjoy you tuning in. Thank you so much. Please hit that thumbs up, and we are going to get to see some of the best in the world to do it. A nice, comfortable 3-bet with jacks. Could flat, does go for the 3-bet. Obviously, strong hand in these positions. And, Addamo's one of those guys that is capable of you just got to kind of sit at the edge of your seat. He is willing to battle. He'll maybe flat a little more. He puts a lot of pressure on. And one of the reasons you see him so deep so often with so many chips is he is constantly pushing the edge, playing more hands than others, and being more aggressive than others. So this is
true. That said, I like the fold a lot. In that out of position, like it's the winning move there.
Yeah, I don't think, flatting I wouldn't have liked. He could possibly get aggressive. But again, he's not like careless, just random aggression. And here, though, this is a tough setup. Ace, queen, aces after our player, Rodrigo, hit a very nice ace for himself to knock out. I mean, the player who was in 4th went out in 9th. So really good for the field. It does push chips up into one spot. And this is one where, Addamo you're starting to talk about pretty short and trying to ask a lot to against the chip leader, 3-betting, all these things considered. If this was, the Ukraine player or Venezuela 3-bet him, you might give a little more credit, but here he may just kind of rip it in here and get some bad news. I mean, this is rare that you see him just kind of get put in a really bad spot, but this is one that would ask a lot to get out of.
Yeah, you might feel like he's getting bullied by the chip leader, right?
And yeah, I mean, is there a world where he does? I guess Rodrigo probably just flat, although it looks super strong. I mean, he's got aces. He is in position, and the stack to pot ratio will be like 1. And there is some world where Addamo is going to be folding. So I think, I don't know. This will be curious if he just goes for it or if he's going to flat, which seems like flatting makes a lot of sense. But it also looks so strong to flat. So he does.
It does. It looks really strong.
But you know, you do keep your opponent's bluffs in or kind of marginal hands. I don't know. Ace queen off, when he does rip it in, he may. I don't know if he does go ahead and. I would imagine he's not going to 4-bet to fold this hand on this stack size, but I don't know. I mean, that's what the great players do. They find ways to save chips. They get out of the way when they're cooler.
Very true, yeah.
And here now, he does actually pick up some equity, backdoor, nut flush, and a gut shot. So he goes from pretty dead to actually some equity.
Unfortunately, the SPR is not very good, as in he doesn't have much room to play with and do his Addamo things that he could do with a much bigger stack here in this spot.
And well,
and
that's gonna put the writing on the wall. He's gonna need help, or he is gonna be out in 8th place, and we could see 2 quick knockouts as the 6 pairs the turn. He needs a king only. There's 4 of those. There's the percentages. It's a queen, not enough. Addamo is out. 2 knockouts. Our highest profile player in the tournament here in terms of GGMillion earnings goes out. You can see his profile on the right there, and that will take us to 7-handed very quickly. As the Brazilians are having a massive day to start. They are 1-2 with what, 11? What's this? Almost 12 million chips, and you can see the remaining players have what, 2, 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5. So yeah, 8 million between the rest of the players. Brazil with a massive lead right now. And again, just I got to give credit to Brazil, one of the up-and-coming countries in poker. It's so popular. Felipe Mojave, got my man ElkY out there too, just doing so much for poker. And then some of these guys, some stars really have been born in Brazil in the live scene in the last year. I'm sure you've seen some emerge, Daniel. There's been one of the countries that's very impressive and playing the highest stakes. Rafa Marias as well, GM Walter, these guys that have been around as well, and just sort of a staple in Brazil. And it is, my wife's Brazilian. I go to Brazil a lot. I love Brazil. They are passionate. They really are. They love it. You can tell how much they care about the game. And it's cool to see in Vegas. They support when the final table's there. They show up, you know, like they might not even know the person personally, but they just have huge rails, huge support system. And that is a very, you know, something that says about the culture, really I love that. Family oriented, really positive culture, and awesome to see them kind of taking poker so seriously.
And the other thing that I have to mention about the Brazilians is they just have no fear. Like all my experiences playing against Brazilians is they're ruthless. They just go for it if they want to, and it's very difficult to play against that.
Yeah, it's true.
Let me just point out that you guy got eliminated by my guy. So I have 4 horses in the running, whereas you have 3.
Yes, that is also correct. We are behind him. Bryn going to get a nice raise here. 9's pretty good spot. 7-handed. I mean, he is against under the gun, but he is going to rip it in and take his chances. And as it turns out, he does get a pretty good result. Wasn't flipping, didn't get called, picks up the chips, keeps his big blind, and is through the blinds now. A little bit short again. Blinds 25K 50 upper left of your screen. You will be able to see when that goes up. It does give you the information as well as the payouts in the lower left. And we are going to have ourselves a winner today. Play to a winner, fast start, couple knockouts within 15 minutes of the stream. So, Daniel, I know you got Dortmund game on. That is your squad that you represent, you like, you support, and they are in the semifinals in the second leg versus PSG. So a big day today for them. If they can tie or hang on here today, they will be in the UEFA Champions League final, awaiting the other Bayern versus Real Madrid. So pretty crazy. I mean, it's crazy that Bayern and Dortmund didn't have great seasons, but yet they're in the final for the Champions League, potentially squaring off in the final, which would be pretty crazy as well. So that's very exciting for you today. I do appreciate you taking the time. Literally, the game starts right now. So I know it's right when this is on, and that is very much appreciated for you coming here. And have you done commentary before? Have you done?
No, I've never done commentary.
Never done. Okay. Just for those who don't know, if you want to watch Daniel play poker, last week there was a really entertaining stream in Vegas, Poker Go. It was a 50-100 cash game. That's where we met. I was playing. It was a Ninja specialized game for Nutcase, which we'll talk about. And we are going to be, supporting. We love that. Of course, we'll talk about that, how great a drink it is and what that is. I'm actually curious to have some questions on that, but that was a lot of fun to play. We battled. I was on your direct left and you gave me a hard time, and I was on your left. So I knew you knew what you were doing, and it was enjoyable. And
who else was in the game? My wife was playing, and then Phil Hellmuth and then Nate Hill. He was surprisingly good, actually. Another streamer. And then Steve Aoki joined us a little later. And then he pumped the game up to do a straddle game. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. Nate Hill actually is going to be the guest on the show coming up here as well. I just confirmed with him, so I know we got to see he does know a lot of poker and really enjoys the game. And Ninja seemed gung ho to do it too. I haven't confirmed with him on doing the commentary, but it would be fun, right? I mean, he's obviously a beginner, but I think anyone would enjoy to hear kind of that sort of beginner energy and just love for the game. He definitely does love the game. Didn't want to go home, didn't want the stream to end. So that was a lot of fun. That was
same here. Yeah. I mean, once I start playing, I don't want to stop. And it's actually super interesting to put yourselves in the shoes of the beginner again and see it through their eyes. And I honestly think it can help your game too. I just before agreeing to this, I thought about, are there any talking points or any memorable things that I remember when I started learning the game? And I actually found myself in a home game with 2 bracelet winners, and I had no idea what I was doing at the time. It was Manik Loza and Chrissy Bicknell. And I remember a spot where there was a cold 4-bet on the table, and I had ace jack off. And I tanked so much and finally folded, and I showed my cards to Manik, and I said, like, I don't know if that was the right thing, but I think it's the right thing. He said, yes, definitely the right thing. But as a beginner, you think like, man, ace jack is such a strong hand, right? Like, why would you ever fold to a 4-bet there? So it's kind of neat, and especially if you think about those like big field WSOP events, people often give other players too much credit, especially if you play a lot and you play professionally or you play online. When I talk to my wife, for instance, I say, well, I did this move because, this was in this range or whatever. And then she's like, the other guy probably doesn't even know what range means. So it's a good reality check sometimes.
Yeah, it's important to really understand how you're perceived. We see a nice limp raise there with the Venezuelan player. Well, a flag that we don't see much representation from. So good luck to him today. He is also on my team, your team, for the $100 ticket. Those watching at home, that will be part of the giveaway if he's one of the players that win. And that was a nice play. He limp raised ace 5 off. He got a deuce 7 to take the bait. And again, not like he had ace queen or tens. He had sort of a semi bluff hand, and he did find the limp 4-bet. So shows some moxie, shows he knows what he's doing, and that's not everyone's going to make that move to limp raise with the ace 5 off. So really fast start for him, and looks like we're going to get to see some entertaining poker today. Again, Bryn Kenney has #1 all-time money list earner here, 65 million in earnings. He is at the table there as your short stack. And Addamo, we lost, who's one of the more experienced players live and online, as he has 8 titles. He is gone. And a 7-8 suited closing the action from Nikita seems like a pretty nice spot just to call. I can't imagine any other answer here. It's just closing the action is going to peel, as no one makes a pair. And this is something, if you're watching, you're new to poker, this is why it's so cool. This is part of the game, right? You don't make hands very often. So there's a lot of bluffing, a lot of probing. It's really, sometimes you'll see people make a set or get aces or hit a flush, but it's so rare here. Ace 6 off is, just knows Jack 3-4, pretty dry board. I'm going to take a shot at it. I have a lead in the hand. He does pick it up. No one contests. He also is covering everyone, so that helps, right? Be a little more aggressive. People want to be a little more cautious and not play back. That's one of the things you'll notice. And 7.5 million is a lot of chips. 150 big blinds right now with 7 players left. Complete control of the table. Got there though, right? Huge get there. Ace king off to kings would have been a different story, but now is in control of the match with that stack. So man, the king, that's tough though. The other side of it, you get kings, you get in a good spot early on, you're covered and you're out. I mean, just such a brutal way to go. As I can't blame either player for playing their hand that way. I'm curious here, Bryn, in the big blinds, if with the 7-5 off, he is the shortest, the risk premium. That is something where, he's him calling, or, this is something I think we've seen tighter play, even multi-way with these hands, and you're closing the action. You just like, oh, okay, well, no one can re-raise. That's important. But still, even as a shortest stack, Bryn decides 7-5 off is not the time to get cute, to peel, try to hit a big flop. So he does save some chips, gets out of the way. What are your thoughts there, Daniel? Would you think
every big blind matters? I totally agree with the fold there. There's no, just fold it and play the next hand. And it especially against a field like this, I think if it's a weaker player, if you know that maybe you're a better post flop, yeah, you can call there, and you can make a play, but not on this final table. I think everyone's playing very solid from what I see so far. I mean, obviously everyone's better than me, so I must say they're all better. I think half the audience is probably better at poker than me. I'm happy to give my thoughts here because I think aces here is a very good hand in this spot.
This is a good hand. This is a good spot, and this is see if you're going to find a call.
Yeah.
This is why this is so player dependent too. I mean, the book would say, it's like nice to just call. You are out of position. There is a lot of ICM, but you're also like, there is a chance your opponent just has queens or kings or, ace king and wants to get going. And you don't want foreplay. So this is like, if you think your opponent is just going to always have something good, it might make sense to get the money going. It's also sometimes just makes sense to just call, of course, because to trap and leave the bluffs in.
It's interesting. We should point out here that Dimitar didn't rip it in with 24 bigs there. So it's actually, I like the raise size. So he can actually get away from this.
And interesting too, this is why, you see ace 10 off, but it's tough because this isn't against the under the gun raise. When he 3-bets the cutoff there, he's not necessarily bluffing. He just realizes like he's going to be ahead so often to that raise. There's just going to be some broadways. There's going to be some low pairs. There's going to be some modest starting hands, king 5 suited. So he's really just saying, hey, look, I have a strong hand. I'm on the button and let's see where you're at. So he did run into aces. And I'm curious, Nikita, what his criteria is to flat or pop it up there on the 4-bet. I think it's probably player dependent, it's read dependent, it's stack size dependent, it's the ICM,
right?
What all these things. It's positions, it's cutoff button, just going to be more that type of kind of light play, and he just decides that, hey, like I'm gonna try to get the money going there. But that is, you see it like also with Helmuth when we were playing, and he popped me up with queens and I re-raised him with aces. Like it was close, right? It was close to just call, and like you told the line. But also if you believe the player's gonna be super strong, you can, again, sometimes it's better because if you just call and it comes king high, maybe he doesn't stack off, right? So like sometimes you can just get the cooler going. It is to your advantage. But Helmuth actually made a great fold, and maybe I talked too much, but that was a lot of fun, and it was that was a memorable stream. Tell people about quickly, if you don't mind, about Shopify, how that came about. Because I mean, you're those that can miss the beginning, co-founder of Shopify. So this is a massive company. It's I think in 150 plus countries, and this, that, and the other. Most people have probably heard of it or use it. And how did that come about? How has that been? How did you get tied into Shopify?
So I was in Germany still, and one of my closest childhood friends who I lived together with when I was studying computer science in Dortmund, hence my love for Borussia Dortmund, the soccer club. He moved to Canada, and he found himself out of job, and so he started a snowboard company selling snowboards online. He looked around and he didn't find any good software to open an online store. There was like Magento and some, you could do it through eBay or whatnot, but there wasn't really a good solution to build an online store. So he built his own online store, and he told me about this. Back then it didn't have a name yet, but I was pretty much done with my computer science and music degree in Germany. And he said, hey, I need your help. Do you want to like come over and help build this thing with me? And this is maybe a longer conversation because this is all about decision making, right? So I made a decision, and I thought it was like a plus EV move to drop out of university instead of getting my degree, moving to a different country, and doing the startup that had no funding, and we had really, at the beginning, we had no idea what we were doing, and it's actually a good thing that we didn't know what we were doing, because being oblivious helps a lot, just getting through all the tough times, because you're kind of delusional. You're telling yourself, oh, it's going to work. Right. And years later, eventually it did work. It was a lot of work, and we were incredibly fortunate to have made it. But we worked on this for him and I. So we're the co-founders. We worked for close to 10 years until we took the company public. And then after taking the company public, I stayed around for a few more years. And then
Wow.
I decided that's enough online shopping software for me. I want to do other things with my life, and I left the company as much as I love having been part of that journey.
That's awesome. Well,
And look at that river card.
He did get there, 2 overs to the board and a gut shot. You got to believe he hung on it. Went check turn, and 8-9 actually maybe has some blind on blind situations where it could make hero calls. Although the 6 is not a good card, right? 5-7, 5-6, even 5-2. All these type of draws that are in a small blind, big blind range that now get there. So 9 high, maybe there was some world where he would consider a hero call on runouts with the bet, but this I don't think that this would make a ton of sense unless maybe he's thinking, hey, I'm in the big blind, I could have some sort of straight or really strong hand, and thinks about getting spicy raising here.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But does fold. Doesn't have any key cards
Nothing
in there.
And
I think may have realized that was not a good run out for him. So he does make the fold, and our friend from Venezuela picks up the pot. As we can see, 7-handed, playing to a winner. We are off and running, 2 quick knockouts. Bryn Kenney is there. He is still in with about 1 million chips, so almost 20 blinds, 19 blind. And let's see, the link is above. I did just drop it. It's also pinned Jeff Gross Poker on Twitter. You guys can go there and see that. I think, I'm going to pin it. I had the podcast pin. We gotta pin. We gotta have you on, Daniel. I want to hear that. I know people here want to see poker. They love poker. I think it's so interesting how business poker sort of translates. You learn things or can apply, because it's sort of cliche, but it really is, I believe, true. I'm sure we'll do hopefully a longer talk and sit down. People can listen and kind of hear, because I think it's fascinating. And when did you find poker though? When did you start playing poker?
It was when I was at Shopify, we did these what do you call them? Like offsites with the executives. So once a quarter, all the executives would go and we would hang out for a couple of days somewhere and strategize about the future of the company. And typically that also involved, during one of the evenings, we would have a friendly poker game. And for the longest time, I didn't care too much about poker. I always loved games. I've always been gaming, board games, video games, whatnot. But I at the time anyway, I thought that poker was mostly luck and there wasn't much skill involved. So then one of my buddies sent me a link to this primer for poker, and it really had some super basic things about, like, it talked about the importance of position. It talked about hand strengths, like super basic stuff. But all those things I did not know about. And I read the primer, and somehow I got hooked, because I realized there's way more skill involved than what I originally thought. And from that moment on, I couldn't stop like reading and learning about poker, about all the books. And a lot of the books are garbage, but there's some good books. And like one of the books that I devoured was actually Chris Moorman's book. I don't know if you read it, but it just talks about some examples, some samples of this guy he plays, and then Chris Moorman gives his commentary on those hands. And it seems very dry, but I loved it because of how dry it was and how analytically approached the hands, the hand histories. And years later, I find myself playing against Chris, and I get to tell him like, hey, I love your book, and like it's one of the books I read like 5 times over to study and analyze, and you got a good chuckle out of it. And he's much friendlier in person than the book cover lets it on, because it looks so serious.
For sure.
But he's a really nice guy.
What just an excellent player. I mean, there really are. It's amazing how many. I feel like that would be an incubator, or just to like pick some players and people that have been in poker for a long time, or multi-table. And I know they say that a poker player makes a good trader. They say a trader doesn't necessarily make a good poker player, but there is a lot of skill sets, I think, from high level.
Yes.
You see this too, some spillover where poker players sort of segue into business or do tasks and roles in business that are at a high level. And I think that is not super surprising for you. Do you notice that? Do you actually, with stuff or projects you're working on, do you try to, is that something that's appealing to you? Do you look for some players or people or contacts that are in or have some poker knowledge? Do you think that that's valuable, or it just depends?
It's extremely valuable, right? So here's the thing, and this is maybe a more philosophical thing, and we can talk about it more on the podcast. But when you look at the schooling system, everything is, or most of the things are complete information, right? And you work based on the assumption that it can be solved. And so you get homework. Of course, the teacher doesn't set you up that there's no way of winning. So the whole schooling system is kind of weird in a way that it doesn't reflect real life. Once you go into the business world and you start a company and you you most of the decisions you're doing, you operate on incomplete information, which is what poker is, right? So if you understand that and you can assign probabilities to outcomes, and you're not too you don't take the setbacks too badly, because maybe you have done the best decision based on information you had, but it just didn't work out because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, that
makes you a successful business person, right?
That's a fascinating topic, results oriented, because that is one of the wild things. You know, some of these poker stars or people have been around even back in the early 2000s and won World Poker Tour events, or won a World Series bracelets or whatever, right? They had this. Maybe they didn't even know what they were doing, or they didn't play great, right, and they won. You get this sort of affirmation, the positive reinforcement, right? Whereas the same in business. What about COVID? How many businesses maybe just something happened, or they were a live business, they had to shut down, or this happened, external forces happen, and then they maybe quit, or then all of a sudden now they have kids, or now this happened and now they're not able, or they're not, timing's so important. So I don't know, that to me is a fascinating part of life, is about luck. I really do believe about luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I love that saying, but there is luck. There is luck in anything, right? There's timing, there's energy, there's a lot of stuff. I think that's one of the trickier things, and it's easy, I think, to get failure in business. You can have these failures or these things that can really knock you down, and then to come back. Because to actually make a business work, to make Shopify work, to get employees and hire the right people and deal with this and regulatory stuff and taxes and all these different things you're learning and dealing with, as you said, maybe being naive is actually better in a sense, because like some of the stuff would be like, wow, like how could we try to do this if like all these things we had to do or learn or figure out, it might just be like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. So that I think is very, very interesting. And one of the things in poker is results oriented. It's very tough, right? You have a girlfriend, you're married, you have a kid, like you go to play a tournament, you get knocked out. This guy just lost king's to ace king. He's talking, he's at home, he's saying, hey honey, we're gonna, I'm in fourth with this much money, maybe satellite in, or it's 10K, and now all of a sudden, like he just, like how do you go out? Well, stuff happens, right? He didn't play king's bad, but he's out in ninth place, and a lot of money was left on the table. So like these type of things are kind of hard to deal with, right? And not everyone handles them so well, and that's one of the tricky things, I think, I would say. But yeah, I mean, in business, that's part of it, right? You're gonna have stuff happen that's not in your control, and stuff that maybe is, or maybe you make a bad decision, you got to rebound. So that's I think poker just kind of teaches you a lot of lessons quickly, like about these type of things. You get a lot of math, really a lot of variance, bad beats, these type of things in a quick period. It really does,
yeah. It's interesting when you talk about bad beats, because obviously when you're learning the game, like that's all you want to talk about. It's like, oh, this guy sucked out of me, or I had like a 98% chance of winning, and you got like runner straight flush or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But then as you see more hands, and then obviously at some point the bad beats don't matter as much anymore, and that's the experience, right? And I think in business too, I mean, I love your quote that you said about luck. I made a point saying that we were fortunate to have been so successful, and I really mean it, because luck plays a big factor into becoming super successful, I think. But also the right mindset to be able to see when you are fortunate and when you're not. Because I also see people that they're just so pessimistic, and they could see the good things and they could make something out of it, or they choose to be hung up on all the unfairness and injustice that happened to them. And it's like, well, if you're entitled and all you think about is injustice, then it's very difficult to come out ahead on the other end.
Yep. Yes, that's a great point too. I mean, it's also what's cool about poker. You get to see how people handle your success, your results, also how they handle their own personal defeat or personal bad beats. You can learn a lot about people quickly, I think, in the poker world. And it's a very fun place. Some of the most interesting and best people in the get kind of some crazy stuff and hear some bad stuff. But overall, I'd say I'm very grateful. Most of my closest friends' relationships are directly from poker or indirectly from the table, meeting someone, or it's a great game. And here we go, 9-10 off. Gonna go ahead and rip it in. There you go, Nikita. That is That's not a play you're going to see. You drafted him up. You paid up for him. There were some people with more chips, and that's the type of play not everyone's willing to make. And he had his reasons, and he did ship it in. Didn't want to limp, didn't want to min raise. Decided he's going to shove, force some better hands to fold, and that is definitely a powerful play there.
And I'm not surprised that move coming from Nikita, but it was it worked out this way. It could have not worked out, but he's just deciding he's going for it. Now, what's Bryn doing here? Clearly, nines are super strong.
He's just gonna shove. I don't think he'll induce, but he could. I think that's just gonna be happy to shove, pick it up. It's enough chips out there, and again, he's not necessarily looking to. He's fine with the takedown there. He doesn't necessarily want to get king queen, invite king queen offsuit to rip it in, to reopen it up, and he's happy with the pickup of the extra raise, the blinds, ante, and now he is back to over his 1 million chip stack, and he is in the tournament. He's shortest, tied with Danchev, but he is right there. And again, you mentioned you paid up for him too. You got him. He's number one all time. He knows how to win. He's been here before. He took down the 250K Triton London last year for 6.2 million, I believe. And when I actually was doing the commentary in the 2019 Triton in London, the £1 million buy-in, and he won that event. He got second, but he made the deal, got the most, and that is one of the reasons I think he had like 20 some $1 million in earnings in that tournament. He's 65 million lifetime earnings. You mentioned you were thinking of playing the million or one of these.
Sensei. So I was, I was talking to my good friend Fedor Holz, and we were thinking that we entered a Triton event together. It's one of those events where a business person can invite a professional, and since I'm not considered a professional, it could have worked that he would be kind of my guest that I bring along to the tournament. I did, it didn't work out, and I got a few more invites to really big cash games, $500,000, $2 million buy-ins, and I decided actually against it because even if I think that I may be a favorite, as everyone knows, the swings in poker are nutty sometimes, and anything can happen, right? Even to the best player, you can in $1 million buy-in cash game, you can easily lose 1 or 2 million. One of the things that I pride myself in with poker is that I started very small, even though I could have afforded to play bigger. But I played 1-2 for a very long time until I could go to 2-5 and so on. And I have my separate poker bankroll, and I keep track of like all the stuff that I do in poker independently of the wealth or so that I accumulated through Shopify. So if I were to lose $1 million buy-in event, whether it's cash game or tournament, it would actually put me in a spot where I could be lifetime negative in poker. And I think that's like psychologically, I think that makes too much of a difference to me. That I just don't, I'm in a really happy spot right now where, poker's not my main income, but I'm decent enough that I make more than I lose. So that's a pretty good spot and very comfortable spot for me and to be in. And I don't want to kind of risk that. Just having a bad run.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, interesting play. Ace 10 off, checked back on the flop. Definitely a board where at the gut shot, Ace 10, he's got the range advantage against the big blind. You could see him c-betting. He did not bet. He did turn a hard draw, a pretty important card. And again, does pair the river, so he does beat a few hands now, and maybe he would have bluffed his intention to float and then rep it, and he still could. I mean, he does have a 10 of hearts, and he does make a pair on the river, though. So it's kind of an uncomfortable spot where you don't think you're good. You do improve. So you're kind of in like this weird spot. You fold, what hands are you beating? Queen 10, you have a 10 though. What hands is he barreling that you're beating? And now, is your hand, maybe you need to turn into a bluff. I think all options on the table here. I don't really love calling with this particular board. You're just going to lose a lot to.
I agree.
I just don't see a ton of bluffs that bluff the as played. So this is one I think he'll burn some clock on. I'm going to think about what he's going to do here. If he hadn't improved, I'd be curious if, to say this is like a six of diamonds or 6x6 or a 5 or a brick on the river. I wonder if he would have maybe potentially raised or try to rep like he had the flush. I'm not sure the plan there, but he did go ahead and fold. He had a lot of equity. He did have the ace. He had the queen or the heart. Was all those things were good. So he did call and then get out of the way on the river when his opponent Bruno improved to 2 pair. Again, the Brazilians off to a great start. 12.5 million chips between the two. We are 7-handed, started 9, lost 2, and we are going to play to a winner. Very stacked lineup. We did lose Addamo early, but we still have Bryn, Kenney. We still have Bruno, Volkman. We have Nikita, very accomplished player, and some other. I'd say everyone here is playing well. Even our player unknown from Venezuela came out with that nice limp 4-bet ace-5 off.
Should we try?
Yeah, he's playing well. Small blind, big blind.
How would you pronounce his name?
Man, that is. I mean, is that all one word? lphxneloveschin? You're saying
lphxneloveschin?
Yeah, I think it's not a last name; it's a username. So I'm not sure. It's a tough one to pronounce. We're calling our Venezuela friend.
Hey, he's your guy, man.
He is on the squad. Yeah, that's
he's
true.
On your squad.
Are you? I mean, so man, what an intense day. Any soccer fans out there? UEFA, who do you think makes to the Champions League final? Semi 1 today, semi 2 tomorrow. I mean, Bayern too has had kind of a nightmare of a season. Isn't the coach confirmed leaving? I mean, what if they win the Champions League? Is he? I mean, is he gone? Is he definitely leaving? Tuchel? What's his name?
Oh, Tuchel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're kind of made, regardless of the outcome. They're probably signed. Like once the news hit, I think everything is inked already. So usually they're irreversible. But then, I mean, you see players like Marco Reus, right, who left Dortmund for Bayern. And then years later, after Bayern kind of wasted his opportunity, came back to Dortmund. And, he's still a great player, but he could have been the German Messi. He could have been the best player Germany has ever seen. And unfortunately, Bayern didn't really utilize him. They just wanted to steal him from Dortmund. So yeah, that's always what you see the same thing in the Premier League, right? Where like the clubs, Chelsea, all the clubs with the big money and the big deep pockets, sometimes they just buy the players and let them sit on the bench just so the other teams can have them, which is sad. Here's an interesting situation. So ace queen suited, jacks, has already been opened by ace 8 off. He's flatting. I like the flat a lot with the suited. If it's offsuit, I definitely 3-bet here, but the suited flat I like. And then what's he going to do with jacks now?
Yeah, I think he doesn't necessarily want to go multi-way here, and also the ace queen suited flat probably doesn't think that. I would think he doesn't think he's so strong. The ace 8 going to be opening really wide, and interesting, he does decide to just play it as a flat and just says, hey, you know what, I'm going to lose this pot more often, but I'm also going to take the variance down, and there are going to be some boards where I can really assert himself, and he does have position too there. Again, of course, he's inviting more players to come behind, someone to squeeze. He's inviting the big blind. Could have gone even more way, but as it turns out, ace queen gonna flop massive. Jack's gonna get kind of pretty easy to get out of the way, and ace queen has top 2 pair. What a board! I mean, Jack's does have backdoor straight and flush draw, but again, multi-way. Going to be really hard to realize equity if he even has any, and does fold there as expected. And now Rodrigo probably not going to lose too much more here. He loses to flushes. He has kicker issues. I don't think he's going to go crazy on this board. Probably going to just not put more money in the pot. And jacks would have won for what it's worth running diamonds.
Oh, Chad is right. Yeah, I totally confused Marco Reus with Götze. Yeah. I just saw that now. Yeah. When I was talking about Marco Reus, I was actually
Real Madrid, right?
Yeah. The chat is thanks chat for correcting me.
Yep, they got it. They know what's going on. This is what something the chat knows for sure is poker and Champions League, and they're sweating too. Maybe on the multi screen here, as it is a 1-0 lead in leg 2. Dortmund is up. Total 1-0 and aggregate 0-0 today. We'll be sweating that alongside the winner today. Going to play for almost $400,000, 10K buy-in. Re-entries available, almost $2 million in this prize pool. As 8-9 suited has a gut shot here, is out of position. Ace queen off. These are hard. These are the ones where you make the money, right? This is where the pros, they find ways to these pots. This is like a pretty fair fight. You got ace queen high. You got to maneuver. You're against 8-9 suited. Both players have a little something going on. Ace queen going to beat a lot of hands still, even though missing 8-9 suited can force some folds, some check raises. Does have a hand that he's probably not going to want to go away for, just depending how aggressively he plays it. I mean, there is some world of a check raise and then on some returns following through, right? If you know, he also unblocks spades, so his opponent definitely, some hands could have some spade draws, but that's, you start getting into the territory too. If your opponent does have something like a spade draw, they may not be just, you know, you're not just necessarily getting him to fold right away. So let's see how he proceeds here. Calling out of position, sort of dicey too, and he actually folds, which is a reasonable. I thought that was, I didn't think he would fold, but that is definitely reasonable considering two shorter stacks. He's out of position,
right?
Tough to play against, and again, a very accomplished player, right? He's probably thinking this is like getting specific. I got to hit an offsuit 7 to make the nuts. If I hit an 8 or a 9, that's a spade. I may still not even have the best hand, and he does get out of the way. So nice pickup there for Bruno.
It's also about that if you make your hand, you don't know if you get paid off, right?
Yeah.
10 high.
Yep, that's true too. Those are all the considerations. That is what makes poker so fun. Everyone on any given day, any given hand. I always say that's like a box of chocolates. It really is. You just don't know. It's a different mix, different players, different stack sizes, different positions, different prize pool. That's what makes so fun about tournaments. Cash games, don't get me wrong. You get those lineups like we had when we played, where it's just so fun. No one wants to leave, and it's amazing. But a tournament just so pure. Start, finish, you know what you get. You know, it's even playing field in terms of chips, buy-in. Once you're in there, it's a battleground, and you know, it's just, I don't know, I love it. I'm getting excited for the WSOP. I don't know how much you're going to play. I think you said you will be out there for some, but I will be there for as much as possible and looking forward to it, because I'm itching. You know, when you play it every day, if you go out there, it's like, it feels like a job. It's different, but when you kind of aren't playing a lot, it's just like I'm like checking the schedule, lining up which event's definitely going to play, and it's, you know, it's exciting. It's an exciting
What
time.
do you think about the venue, the switch from the Rio to
I love it. I mean, I got a lot of great memories at the Rio, but that was time to move on. It was just time for a new spot. They kind of just got it right with Bally's, the horseshoe now in between, and they sort of figured out how to balance it, how to do the events. Yeah. There was little tweaks and kinks to it that I think they're you know, even it was great last year, but I think now it's like they're going to have it fully dialed in, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about going. What about you?
You definitely have the temperature better in check compared to the Rio, where you had to bring a winter coat. It's not bad. I probably skip this year, or maybe I play a couple events if I'm in town. You know, we are in a similar situation where both of us, we have a toddler. And so it's always more challenging to find the time to play live poker, especially when you know, if you run deep and you are in like a multi-day tournament. There were a few spots where I could have started the tournament, but I know I wouldn't be able to play the final table. So then what's the point in you know, signing up for the tournament and playing 3 or 4 days just for the fun of it?
And what is your dream tournament? Is it a turbo? What's the buy-in? What do you enjoy? And because it is hard if you're doing real world stuff and have family and business to go for these days. This is kind of the tricky thing. And actually, I got to give a shout out to WSOP, because in the Bahamas, I was there for played 5 events. Had a great time at the phone, the app where you can literally register on your phone. It's pretty amazing because it saves the registration, the time you load it up. You can literally like register, scratch off your seat, go to the table and start playing, which is like, you know, that's a big deal. That just makes it that much nicer, that much more appealing to go and play.
It really does. If you compare to the WSOP, sometimes you stand in line and you wait for 45 minutes to get your ticket. And then when you have your ticket, then you have to wait for your seat and you wait another half hour, depending when you go. So my favorite tournament series is the, oh, look at this turn card. This is spicy.
Yeah, and interesting, just flat pre, you know, again, not crazy. That's just one of those spots where you're against under the gun, doesn't do a lot to raise. You also kind of under rep your hand, but you're also just realizing you're going to be behind as well. Like this is the case, and both players going to be welcoming the heart on the turn. But you know, it's an intricate board for the big blind range. There's straights, there's some 2 pairs, and queens with the heart. Going to feel confident, but still a little worried, and is going to probably just be calling and evaluating river.
Just calling, yeah. I think you're very happy here with the queens, and you have the queen of hearts. So my favorite series is the PGT events, the Poker Go tour events. I think they're so well organized. There's zero wait.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, is he gonna fire another barrel here?
I mean, it's a weird one though too, because you do beat King Queen, Queen Jack. There's some Queen Jack suited, King Queen suited, King Jack suited. So I think he just feels that he has a Jack of Hearts. Unlikely his opponent has a flush. He's sort of like in the middle, up in his range, and also on that board, it's probably scary for even a hand as strong as something like this to value bet. So I think he's sort of, you know, he feels that he could have the best hand and doesn't. A blocker bet might have made some sense, but I think he didn't want to open up to get bluff, so he's going to just decide to check the side. And you know, queens, this is a tricky spot to value bet or not. Think he finds some value?
I think he does. It's Nikita. I also think that separates the really good players from the just good players.
Yeah, I mean, it's just scary because you open yourself up. It's like, first of all, your opponent could just have something that decides to check call that does beat you. You also could open up some players to bluff,
sure.
and take like a hand like this where, you know, there is a key card, the Jack of Hearts. And I mean, this is,
I mean, if this guy rips it, then there's no way
he's
Nikita
leaning more towards that he does beat some missed draws, right? He beats things and he does block flushes. So like, this is actually a kind of close, but again, just a great value bet and a great fold. That's what we get with the GG Million. That's what we get when we get the best in the world. You get to see it. You get to see people playing, I don't want to say perfect, but high above the rim. Players are constantly pushing the other to do great things. And there you saw just a very nicely played river there from both players, making good decisions. And Roman, look at this. The ace-9 off finds a light 3-bet with a good candidate, and he is going to go against a nice hand, but not a hand that wants to be tangoing. An 8-high suited out of position, huge ICM implications with 2 shorter and 2 others about tied. So this is like a field day, and just again, such a great result to go and attack a hand like this. You know, he does wake up. Timing's so important in business and life and poker, and he is going to make good timing. I mean, but doesn't want to necessarily. Romanovskyi was like, man, I have such a pretty hand here. I don't even want to release it though.
I know, but he has the worst seat at the table too, right? Where he sits, right? But
he's
don't
really
you think,
thinking
like,
about it. He's thinking like, hey, I know, you know.
Do you think he should see that coming? That, you know, obviously he'll probably gonna get bullied by the chip leader quite a bit, because of the where everyone sits with their chip counts. So then, should he tighten up his opening range, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he also does have the option to reopen it up. I mean, he could. It would seem insane with the 8-7. No, like 8. You know, he doesn't have like the blocker, ace, a king, even like a king 5 suited. Be more inclined to like play back. But he can just tell he's using the chess clock. He's really thinking about what is going on, and it's such a good light 3-bet spot for Rodrigo. And really, you know, there's a lot of hands that he's not going to want to put more chips in if you're Rodrigo. He's really, credit to him for thinking about it here. He may do something wild. We may get a highlight here. He may rip it in or click it back. Even what he could make it. It's only 300. He could make it like 850, 820, 780. You know, 900. He could do that. He could shove. Not by all means, that would not be a standard play to rip it in here in these spots in this ICM, but this is definitely a lot of chess clock, a lot of clock being used. You can see every player gets 15 minutes and he's down to 3 minutes. See, the other players have utilized some of that, but as it stands, I don't know. This is an abnormal long clock in this spot.
It is, yeah.
And he does fold. Ultimately, just a great 3-bet selection, hands, position, situation, and the clock was ticking there. There was a consideration for the 4-bet.
How do you feel about the time cards in live events? You know, when there's a clock and each time card buys you another 30 seconds. And I know some people use them very strategically, right? If we talk about the clock, where you know what you're going to do, but you're burning through 1 or 2 time extensions in order to create maybe a certain image that you want the other player to think of you.
I mean, that's a great question. I definitely would say, like, that's not something I'm playing less frequently live, so I'm not utilizing some of those. But I know there for sure players doing tricks or using it to their advantage in situations where they're trying to look a certain way or be perceived a certain way. And similar online, players do it with online. They do stuff with time bank. They look, don't just act quickly. They take some time or they think about stuff, and there definitely some balance and thoughts in that as we see a massive flop here. Bryn's got over nut open-ended draw out of multiple straight draws here. He's got the best straight draw. He also has backdoor diamonds, has an over. I mean, this is a lot going on. He happens to be against a hand that has a better draw, neither player with the pair, and he's going to rip it in, and this is going to get called. We're going to see 5 cards, 2 more here. Turn and river, big moment. Bring Kenney fans out there. He is at risk, needs to improve, doesn't on the turn. Almost a 3-1 favorite now. Rodrigo, can he do it? And it is that a, oh, no, it's a queen. I think it's going to be no good. Bryn is going to whiff on that run out, and it's going to be Rodrigo ace high for a knockout 6-handed. There's the payout look with 149 now guaranteed for everyone. Bryn over 2 million in GG earnings, and again, #1 all-time money list earner with 65 million in live earnings. That is a wild number to talk about. 65 million in live tournament earnings. That is that player. He has won all time in the game of poker that you know and love. He will be out, and we will be 6-handed. And what was that? Who you had? Bryn. I had Addamo.
I had Bryn. Yeah.
Okay, we're
3-3.
3-3. If he's lost another. Okay, so yeah, we're getting moving. It's getting moving here.
But I got Rodrigo, and the chip leader extends his lead.
Yeah. You got a nice little draft going. We're talking a nice dinner too. We'll see where that ends up. But as it stands right now, it is still wide open. Audience can be $50 or $100. And again, the tweet, retweet. You guys can go to Jeff Gross Poker on Twitter, and that is now a pinned tweet. There's actually 2 live giveaways there. The last 2, I believe there was maybe another something was a highlight of Ben Heath there. But yeah, King's very popular hand today. Got unlucky kings to ace king earlier here. Rodrigo with kings. And I mean, as it stands, both players ace 10 off. Not going to be able to contest here. And that's probably what Romanovskyi's thinking. That's what goes through his head. Hey, it's so obvious. Like, man, he's picking on me, the stacks, the ICM. And then do you want to rip it in with 7-8 suited? But people get hands, right? It's not just here he goes. He's got a real hand. Kings, you just rip it in, you got 8 high, and you're out in 7th place talking to yourself. So he did ultimately pass, and we are going to get to see Rodrigo open this button, and a likely just going to go full call. Ace deuce off, not going to get out of line there. And everyone's got something. We got middle pair versus a over gut shot and sort of middling, any paint to improve. Going to go ahead and bet, of course. Put pressure on hands such as this. 10, a 9. Does get called. Curious on the action, likely check and then decide. I mean, does Rodrigo want to, as the chip leader, does he want to put pressure in this spot? Also, Bruno very deep though, right? You can't just kind of bully him over here with this stack.
Yeah, I think you want to control the pot a little bit too, right? You don't want to donate your chips to the second on the table.
Yeah, he also knows that there's a lot of ace X that are just calls, especially as they're 1 and 2. So that's also going through his head that there's going to not just be a necessarily.
Oh, he decides
to give him a little stronger range here, but wow, just like shelling it.
Yeah, that's a big bet.
Wow. So unblocks, known as a spade. Rodrigo took a second shell on the gutter with the overs, and actually he did have the pure 4-3-3 10 outs, so any paint would have been good. He does miss here. The spade comes home a lot in the pot. And does he want to wave the white flag? He does. He still beats a few hands. I don't know if 7-8 suited or Jack 8 suited are going to peel, or Jack Queen. I mean, I guess, but then
not to this bet sizing on the turn, I think.
Yep. So I think
he's
kind of waving the white flag there.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at this matchup. These are some huge confrontations. King Queen.
Look at that.
Opening
Kings against Ace King.
Kings, and Nikita wakes up with the Ace King. Wow. Just calls.
And he just flats. Love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, as it stands, I guess probably work out for more. I mean, maybe it was gonna go in no matter what, but this is this. There you go.
Yeah, I can't blame him for ripping it here. Yeah.
And Bruno gonna be calling quickly here. He does call, cards on their back. Similar situation. Kings to Ace King for a huge moment. Big pot. Clean flop, Jack 9-3. He's got the backdoor hearts.
There's the ace
on the turn. You got to be kidding me today. It has been space ace. Nikita is going to go ahead and hit the big card he needed, the ace, and we are still 6-handed. That was a huge swing. That would have been.
That's the reason he was my second pick, by the way.
Yeah, he would have had 8 million. It would have been literally like. It would have really been wild how the chip stacks were, and we would have been down to 5. Instead, 6-handed, a lot to play for, and that is a really interesting situation. Man, kings are cold, Daniel.
Oh yeah. Are you superstitious at all?
No, I mean, no, but like I'm aware of energy and alert, but I'm not like, I'm not doing like superstitious type stuff. No, you?
Not really. No. Sometimes I enjoy playing along with superstition because it's fun.
Yeah, it's poker's fun. It's listen. I mean, I'm not going to say I've never used the same card protector or try to do some eat at the same place if things are going well. I'm not like I'm not crazy about it, but I'm alert and. You get what I'm saying. I don't just think it's complete baloney. I like it. I like to kind of be in tune to energy, if you will. But that's where I'll draw the line. I'm not doing same underwear, stuff like that.
Who do you think is the most superstitious pro player that you know of?
Man, I mean, I'm just telling you, I really am. I'm really. What do you call it? I haven't really been playing a lot live, or I couldn't tell you. I don't know who I know that's like, it's been like that. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone that I know personally. And I'm like, oh man, they're like crazy superstitious. How about you?
I think Phil, I don't know if he would admit it, but I think he's somewhat superstitious. But then Isaac Haxton, he likes wearing the same shirt for big events.
Yeah, it's
and I think if you look at the Tritons, you have a lot of Chinese players that are very superstitious.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, in gambling, in life and things, there's definitely things that you want to, you pay attention to, right? You're like, okay, this is working, or this is good, and let's do that. Or if something doesn't go so well, maybe you switch it up, right? That's just that can be natural sort of thinking. But there are some crazy superstitions in baseball in particular. There's a lot of that. I know that they do stuff with ritual or pregame stuff, locker room. This is like a real thing, and I mean, I get it. We are seeing the 10 deuce going to go for the limp. We saw the ace 5 from our friend, the Venezuelan, make the limp raise with ace 5 off. Here, ace 6 off. Similar situation, also not so deep. So he definitely could limp rip ace 6. Because again, it's just kind of almost nothing feels good. Calling doesn't feel right. You're just going to be out of position guessing. Limp folding seems too tight. So I don't know. Does he limp rip? Ace 6 off, though. It's kind of the worst ace. Can't make a wheel. Calls. Wow. Going to be tough to play this one.
Both players at this point.
And 10 deuce doesn't fire a C bet, which may have worked as played, but now ace 6. Kind of in no man's land, right? Like could just be out kicked versus a value hand to hand, even as dusty as this, the 10 deuce off still has 6 outs and you're guessing you're out of position. Does they now want to start springing on it? I mean, I'm very curious how this is going to play out here. Rodrigo does not bet flop and get checked to a second time here. Might start firing here. Big bet on the turn.
To me, the small blind hand would feel very strong if I flat and then call the raise. And I have a chance to bet on the turn, but I don't. That to me feels very strong. I mean, obviously we are privileged to see the whole cards of both players. But if I wouldn't know what is his name, Romanovskyi, what he had, I would think he would have a strong holding here.
I mean, this is again one of the illustrations of why it's hard to play a hand like this, to limp call, out of position. Yes. The board pairs, you're in very good shape. You're actually against not even a bluff, not a semi bluff, just a pure bluff. 10 deuce, no equity, and Rodrigo is going to execute the hand to perfection. Does take it down. Very interesting. Delayed C bet picks it up, and that is a nice hand there. 7.5 million. Daniel, I'm going to leave you for 1 sec as I use the restroom. Yep. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Oh, and he flops the set and the queen high. So everyone thinks they have a board they would like to see. And the ace of hearts is going to slow down the action.
All right, back here.
It started inconspicuous, and then we see this queen high flop where Bruno flops is set. This is definitely going to slow down the action. So I think that's very lucky for the Venezuelan guy. He's not going to go broke.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Too much going on there to value bet on the river. Four hearts. But Bruno, as you mentioned, some luck there, right? Get unlucky, get top pair versus bottom set, and then get a good run out where it doesn't get crazy. We've seen a lot of big matchups here. Ace king, kings, ace king, ace queen, queens. We saw,
and he knows it.
Big flops. It's been big.
Yeah.
And another big hand for Rodrigo. And I guess he's just gonna, is it big enough where I don't think he even needs to raise, or is he gonna min raise? I guess 450.
I mean, he can isolate here, might as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's big enough where he doesn't really need, it's like 7 blind, 6 blind, 6 blind. So I just think he, in sevens though, closing the action, decides to get out of the way. And ace queen going to need running diamonds or running straight to chop, or that magical card that has come multiple times today. We've seen a flop ace, a turn ace, and then a river. Let's see, maybe it's this time on the river, but will the big hand, big pair hold queens to the turn? It is clean. There's that seven, always coming seven. Would have been a set for Nikita, and the river this time, no ace from space, 4-ball. That is a knockout, as we are going to go down to 5 left. And this is big money, big jumps. You see that 6th place got 116 and we're down to 5. Everyone guaranteed 149,000, as Nikita is going to get out of the way there. Can't blame him, right? To flat, call sevens. It's a big ask.
Can't blame him, no.
To call. And so he does fold, and he is still in healthy shape, and basically tied for second, Rodrigo, with 8.2 million. And now Romanovskyi is short with our friend. I guess I'm going to call him. Yeah, we'll call him iFix. Phoenix loveschin. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, but he's hanging in. Again, 5 left, big jumps. So far, so good. 4 players
he keeps
out.
laddering, yeah. That's right.
And Rodrigo with 8.3 million, looking dominant. Brazil trying to stack a GGMillion title today. Bruno Volkman has won. Rodrigo is, again, very talented Brazilian player. Has 7 final tables last season, 3 already. So 10 final tables, no GGMillion title. Will he get his first today? He is in position. Has to be the favorite with the chip stack. Bruno, again, the experience, the live. Just, I think I'm going to look up. I got to double check. I believe he might be the number one. I think he might be the number one Brazilian live earner, and if I'm not mistaken, actually second. He is second all time to Yuri, who won last week, your GGMillion champion. So Brazil asserting themselves here, and we have got a 3-bet with ace 10 suited. Definitely. Again, could flat. Chooses the more aggressive line. And force. This is not so fun to peel out of position. The implied odds aren't quite there. And he says, you know what? Let's run it. Let's just run it. I got 4s. You don't necessarily have a big pair, and you actually may fold. He is not going to fold. We're going to run it ace 10 suited, 40% of a royal versus 4s. It is going to be a clean flop to start. 4s well ahead.
Oh, yes,
there it is. That has just been a theme today. The ace on the turn, and the river would need a 4. It's not going to be. It is more paint. The king now, as we are in a double up situation, and that's going to tighten things up a little more. Bryn, Kenney, I just had messaged him, hadn't talked to him in a while, sent a message that was him. He said short-lived, but again, adding to it. And again, I can't say anyone at home is going to feel bad for Bryn, the number one all-time. Anytime you're number one in an industry, he's number one poker all-time earning 65 million. What do you think of that, Daniel? 65 million in lifetime tournament earnings. I mean, I guess you play the million a few times, you could win that 3 times, and then you'd be right there with them. But that's hard. That's
a lot of earnings. I mean, definitely. I would love to see a stat how much the players actually spend in entries for tournaments, because I'm a typically 1 bullet type of guy. There are exceptions, of course. If I travel somewhere and I go there to only play 1 or 2 tournaments, then I fire more than 1 bullet. Yep. But most of the time, I'll try to keep it to 1 bullet. And I think there's some philosophy behind that too. I don't know if you know much, like many video games, but there's a video game that I like in particular called Dota. And in Dota, there's this kind of like a mini boss on the map that if you kill it, you get this item. It's called the Aegis, and it gives you an extra life. So if you die, you resurrect again. So I think that if you don't play at like a high level, if you play at like a medium level, I actually think it's detrimental to most people's game, because they think, oh, I have a second life, and they play more stupid than they would if they don't have that safety. And I think similar is true for people that say, oh, I'm going to fire 3 bullets or 4 bullets in this tournament. Like if you give yourself only 1, I think on average, you probably play slightly better. That's my.
It's a great point. I mean, this happened. I know there's like Dylan Lynn fired like 6 or 7 bullets in the 10K. Maybe Alex Fox and 2 in Bellagio, right? The WPT there at some point. And it is it is like a completely different game. If you're in a freeze out and you know that this is like, forget about like the money, right? Because you start trying to figure out people's money and are they playing tight. But like if you just know that someone can't rebuy and it's a freeze out, like the main event. That's what's so pure about the WSOP main event. It's a 10K world championship. There's no redos. Like, yeah, they'd probably have double the prize pool, right? If they just said everyone could rebuy or whatever, but they don't do that. They keep it pure. And that's something that I think is nice to at least have some options where there is that purity in the game and that it's not just rebuys. And it's great. Listen, the prize pools are bigger. And to your point, you fly to Montreal, you fly to Vegas, you're in Germany, you fly to Spain, or you fly to EPT, like you go these places, Triton, and you get knocked out. It's a long way to go. So like I get that side of it, but I think it is nice when there actually is the pure forms where there's some of that at least that you get. There's no handicaps or no other.
That's why I wish Handmob would show. I guess they don't really have the number, but if they had the number, it would be awesome to see how much do all these players put in buy-ins as well. And I think he would be surprised. Both ways. I think there are some players that have really amazing results, and others where you think they have amazing results, but they are very deep into the buy-ins.
That's a good point. I mean, there's something to be said about it. It is interesting because you look at some of the earners in a year, over a decade, or even the top 5 or 10, and like that's also interesting because definitely if you go 1 to 25 lifetime earnings, it's not going to be. There's definitely not. That's not the most profitable, right? There could be easily people that are in the top, say the top 100. Yes. And you were to say lifetime what they're actually at, and then you can even go further about pieces or selling. But like, let's just call it for strictly results, not taking into consideration anything else. Like that would be interesting itself. But obviously there's confusion with that, with taxes, with other stuff, with spouses, significant others, things like you start opening up doors for problems or questions or people that like really microscope that. So like that in a dream world, it would be fascinating. Like if you could opt in on the Hendon Mob. If it was like, let's say starting 2024 or let's say 2025 January 1, we're gonna say you can opt in or out to track your live, like full on, right? Just to really showcase. Like I'd be curious how many would opt in and opt out, because again, there's some negative side of doing that, or some ways where it could be maybe, less beneficial to someone to do that. But that's
just the thing, right? It doesn't have much upside for you to opt in, other than if you do really well and you want backers, right? And you can prove it via the facts. Right. But unfortunately, there's not much upside for you to opt in. So I think the majority would opt out. I would not opt in.
Yep. Again, I want to welcome everyone watching. Daniel Weinand here, the co-founder of Shopify. Also, Nutcase, we haven't got to give enough time. Joelle, your wife came up with that. Maybe we could cover a little bit of that. Anyone wants to watch us play against each other and play a cash game, a 5,100 no limit with Helmut, the ElkY Ninja, as well as Nate Hill. As it was a blast. That was just a week ago. That's on the Poker Go stream, also Ninja stream. You can see it was a 5-hour stream where we played cash game, a lot of fun. But tell us a little bit more about. We'll talk about Nutcase in one sec. Curious on the sixes, and we're talking about small blind or versus button, and sort of getting shallow-ish, where this could easily be a send it in and a snap call. Sort of in that range, getting close. And let's see what he's got. This is definitely close, right? You just realize you will get some folds. You're also just going to be flipping a lot, and this is not a three bet to fold with tens. It's going to be 5 cards on their back, tens versus sixes, clean clubs covered, needs help. 1 card left, 4.5%. And Nikita is going to join the rail, and we will be 4-handed quickly. And it is a 4. Yeah. That is it. GG Nikita, very talented, tough player. Also a GGMillion champion, going to be out, and a pickup there. Everyone's excited, running hot. That's important. Good player goes out. Pay jumps all around. Top 4 payouts lower left. Third will get 242, 394 up top. We are going to go and see that was a crazy hand. Here's another one. This could also was this 80s 20 bigs probably going in here.
And I for those that have been on final tables, maybe I'm not alone here, but I get I get more excited and happy when I see a really, really tough player leave the table than the actual fact that I just laddered.
Guys, we are potentially three-handed if an ace or a king comes. If
fast.
not, it'll be a double up for Venezuela. King and a 9. That's a good flop for 9s. Needs a river would be pretty sick run out if it came, but it is going to be a clean river, and we are still four-handed. Everyone pretty healthy now. So again, this has gone quickly, 1 hour, 20 minutes in, but pretty deeper stacks now. Everyone healthy here. So let's see, that was, then again, you just see the 9s, ace, king, money can go in. We will see some poker right now, four-handed. And
he needed a double up too. He's still the shortest, but he needed a double up.
For sure. So tell me about, nutcase. How did that come up? Or we talked about that. We'll talk about it in terms of how it came up. I know it was like chocolate milk. Joel was, during COVID, wanted something more healthy, saw what was in the ingredients, kind of started playing with the recipe formula. But how is your involvement? Because you have co-founded Shopify. You've been obviously very successful in business. And what skill sets or what process are you doing to help with Nutcase in particular?
I'm mostly a sounding board, right? It's like the day-to-day where, there's someone when we have a 2-year-old now, a child, and we have a dog, and we have our routines where we go to the park every day and we walk and we talk about the business for 45 minutes or so. And I all I can do is I provide my perspective on things, but I'm always trying to be very careful when I give advice. And I'm an angel investor in multiple companies. I also work as a VC. Here's the thing, like the people that work on the business themselves, they know a lot more about the subject matter than I would, right? I'm not an expert in cashew milk. I'm not an expert in, a lot of the companies that I invest in. I am an expert on certain things, particularly scaling companies. But I know a lot about design because I had a 170 people strong UI team at some point. But I can just tell her, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Or just, sometimes also even being the comforting voice in a room and saying like, hey, this sounds bad right now, but it's actually not that bad because, it could be way worse. And just someone that grounds you, I think is what people need at times. Because also don't forget, like when you start something and you have a product, it's easy to become very emotional about it. You see that all the time, right? Think about like you have something you want to sell, whether that's a house or a car, or like if you have an emotional attachment to it, you think it's worth more than it actually is, right? Same about a company. Like you think it's worth a lot, or you think this is like something that happened is really, really important. But if you're able to take a step back and look at it more objectively, you can see, just calm down and realize it's, some things are not a big deal, and some other things are worth celebrating. And also as a founder of a company, we are oftentimes, or the good founders anyways, we're often very critical with ourselves, and that's what pushes us and drives us. And that being critical to ourselves is also not super healthy in the long term mentally, right? So that can also lead to burnout, and it can lead to a variety of symptoms. And so having someone that tells you it's going to be all right, like putting things in perspective is, I think that's probably where I provide the most value.
Yeah, that's great perspective. And I want to touch back on that. As we see a very interesting hand, ace queen just flats here and does get a rewarding flop with kings again, having a hard time today. Just seems like one of those things. King's second place versus ace king, ace king, and now ace queen. And here it's just going to go in a check call mode. And I mean, listen, ace queen actually has a club. Right, there is some. It's just curious. So on the ace high, would he be bluffing with clubs? Like if you had queen jack, queen king clubs, and it does get out of the way. Romanovskyi just recognizing, hey, I got out flopped here, and makes a good fold. Really nice pickup there, and a nice fold on getting some bad luck. As I'm sure you might have caught that. Dortmund did score. Saw in the chat goal, beautiful header off a corner. So extend the lead right now, pretty
amazing.
Big. 5 minutes in the second half for those sweating the Champions League at home. And the shot clock is in play. 1-0. He has 0 time. 0 time on the clock. That doesn't mean he's out. It just means he has 5 seconds to act on every street now, which is a big disadvantage. You can see the other players were with about 6 minutes plus. And want to welcome in Matt Seidman joining. Also was a guest businessman on the show, not a professional poker player. He's watching. Say hi to Mia, please. And we are in the mix, and we are having ourselves a good old time. And I was going to say, similar to like two business entrepreneurs sort of startup. And it's interesting, right? It's awesome to share info. It's great to give ideas, feedback, but it's kind of like, it's like when if you're dating someone or your girlfriend or husband or wife play poker and like talk poker, it can be fun and good, but sometimes you want to just relax or be stress free. So I think that's an interesting dynamic where it's like, you know, finding that good balance of like, hey, let's talk some business, let's like do this, but like let's not make it only this or whatever, like that, you know, that type of stuff. But it's probably fun, right? For you, it is fun, and it's less stressful. The startup to you've already exited, or you know, you said you were with Shopify for a long time. You did a long time. So it's you have a little more free time probably now, right? Than you did, and get to kind of like see some of the trials and tribulations and struggles and learnings, which is probably a little more fun, right? To be there and kind of like not have
sure. I could if I wanted to, like, no doubt about it. But I also, I can't sit still. So I always have to do 100 different things. And I kind of like doing that. But speaking about playing poker with your significant other, I think that's very interesting because if it was for my wife, we would, and let's say we play the same tournament. She loves it when we play at the same table. I don't like it. Like I would rather, because when I play, I'm out there to get everyone's chips, and I'm not gonna soft play her. And you know, it's been many times when I just take all her chips, and I know it, and I know how she plays, and I'm not saying that I don't want to sound arrogant, but
it's a weird one. So you know her so well, and you talk poker, so you know, like that's the thing. It's like a spot or an exploit, but then it's like it becomes where it's fun for her to talk and see you, just like we're in the 50-100 game. But then it's like you don't want to look like then it can appear that you're taking advantage. If she's not going to play at you, maybe it's hard just because that's how her mindset is. Not saying soft play, right? But not going to like 3-bet you mandatory with any suited ace or
look
like
at this. Look at the setup for a second. This is a crazy setup. Top two.
This is a wild hand.
This is gonna accelerate this game.
Dirty. Wow. This is one of the biggest coolers you're gonna get. And top two versus middle set, ace 8-4. And you know, Bruno probably realizing sort of like the thing is he blocks aces and eights, so it's kind of like in his head he's thinking he's against fours, maybe ace 4 is what he beats. Could have the same hand, and then there is some bad news with eights. But I mean, this is like, yeah, there's just no way out here.
No.
And he's got 2 seconds. I mean, there you go. Yeah, he's obviously not folding. And Bruno, I mean, he's got to feel sick. If there's a player in the world, I'm not even alluding to the fact, thinking that he could fold here because it is just such a ridiculous cooler. But I'll tell you what, he knows, like, there's no real draws, right? Ace 8-4. So it's sort of like ace 4, you're crushing. You're crushed by not much. It's got to be, there it is. Cards on their back. He's got outs. He needs an ace. There's been so many aces just frolicking around here. And there's a 9 clean river card, needs that ace and an ace only. It's a 6. That is bad news. Wow. Bruno, who was your chip leader, out 4th. And that is Romanovskyi, who is officially in the lead. 9.37 million for. I'm going to cue the giveaway in a second here. Sorry that we got interrupted there. A lot of action. Champions League, Dortmund goal. We got people getting knocked out. We're giving life, business, relationship advice, and we got 2 seconds on the shot clock. Chip leader, 3-handed. Cue the giveaway. Wow, that's a lot. That was a lot going on.
You only have one guy left, right? Or do you have?
You have Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Did you get Romanovskyi?
I'm trying to remember who got Romanovskyi.
I have Venezuela.
You have the Venezuelan.
Well, audience, you need to let me know.
I don't know.
It's the difference between a 50 and 100. I'm trying to play through here. I know you had I had Bruno, you had Rodrigo. You actually no, I had Romanovskyi.
You had Romanovskyi. Okay, good.
I did, because you took Coley Russ went out right away. You went down to Nikita.
That's right.
For your pick, and then I came back to Romanovskyi. Yeah. So audience, $100 unless Rodrigo wins, it'll be 50. We're gonna cue the giveaway here in a second. And let's see, let's do that. We're gonna make it keyword GGPoker. Let's do Nutcase instead of Daniel. We usually do your first name, but we'll give Nutcase to love. GGPoker, Nutcase, insert your GGPoker username.
Nice.
How about that? So
anyway, where we were
GGPoker space.
Nutcase. Go ahead. Sorry.
GGPoker is a keyword for the $50 or $100 giveaway. GGPoker space Nutcase. space your GG Poker username. Good luck to everyone. Going to be $50 or $100 giveaway. End of the stream. Got to hit the thumbs up. Got to enter the keyword, and then you will be eligible. And then again, the tweet. Let me find that link for you guys, and that is going to be a $50 cash giveaway as well. Going to catch those up. Link above. 2 live giveaways. Sorry, Daniel, go ahead. That was a lot going on.
Oh, I was just saying, because we were talking about playing with your significant other, and I'm not, and she's a very good poker player. I just run so pure against her, and more than pure, actually. I'm really lucky. And we get in with 2 big pocket pairs 3 times out of 4, and I know this sounds very superstitious now, but like most of the time, I'll suck out on her, and I hit it. And it's obviously I'm happy if I get chips. At the same time, and like I said, I wouldn't slow play her, but it's still different,
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer to play on different tables too.
For sure. Well, yeah, you start getting in like weird dynamics too. People start making assumptions or box you, like you see the Kristen and Alex stuff. Like people start thinking or saying stuff, and you kind of get in this weird spot where like you're just overthinking probably situations or how it's perceived. And
I mean, the hand between you and Phil, right? You knew he had aces. You called anyway, but I don't know, why do you set the probability of him having aces there in that spot? But that's because of the history that you have with Phil, right? If he was a random player, like I think he would snap call with kings there in that spot.
I would raise. I would probably just put it in because like it's 6-handed and like Ninja or Nate Hill, like whatever. It's just also on that board 10-10, 8-8-8. Like it's the button, like whatever, right? Exactly. But when you have a bad feeling or you kind of know, it's it's just not fun. And then also, it can look a certain way.
People don't understand sometimes when you just watch something in isolation, how much history there is between 2 people. And Chrissy and Alex are 2 very good friends of mine. I know how they know each other so much better than I would know how to play against Chrissy, even though I played with her a bunch. But that's also, how do you feel about, I mean, this has probably come up 100 times in your show, but how do you feel about, GTO versus exploitative play? And
well, yeah, I mean, look, I would be lying to you if I said that, like, again, I have 2 young children. I love poker. I consider myself an accomplished, very understanding, knowledgeable poker player. But, I watch these guys, like, again, a lot of these players here are the top 0.01%, right? These are the guys that are doing all the work, running the sims, doing the cold plunge, the meditation. It's they're in there doing every bit of the way. So, it's, I think that the best players they know a lot. They do a lot of work on GTO, and then they're able to really exploit, in these fields, you see a lot of the same players. We look at the resumes, you see them fan out, the players, right? They play with them. They know tendencies. They know, they have it down to a science. They know the big blind play, how they 3-bet, what ranges they're looking at. So there's a lot of exploitative play within these small field, higher buy-ins, right? But I think that in the World Series, for example, or WPTs, or these large field events, there's so much exploitative play that you can really, like, that's Hellmuth. Hellmuth gets so much slack. You could type in the chat, put a 1 if you think Hellmuth's the greatest in the world, or 2 if you think he's the worst player. Like, there's people who tell you he's the worst. Like, even some of the greatest players, they'll give him not credit. But Hellmuth is so good at exploiting weaker players. Like, just like he folded, he makes great folds. He makes reads. He knows what people are capable of. He's really good at that. So, like, not obviously he knows like what's happening, solver type things, but he is just so good at exploitative that he does that better than pretty much everybody else. That's like how I understand how he has the results and stuff he has. Now, he won a 10K Turbo WSOP event recently, right? That was his last bracelet. That's not an easy tournament. Like, he's not playing with, Rex and whatever. He beat like 700-800 pros, a lot of tough players, and won the tournament, right? So he knows how to finish, he knows how to close, and he has a lot of experience. And I think he just really is an example of exploiting at its finest. He knows how to exploit. But like you said, Fedor, one of the best in the world, friend of yours, friend of mine, like, that's a great player, but also very good at exploiting things. He knows sort of how to tweak and maximize exploits in critical times. He gets that extra value. As we see a bluff here, 8 deuce has an 8, and 10-6 is bluffing a huge bluff.
Overbet,
like, way over
almost 3x pot. That's
pretty sick. sick bluff here. I mean, to risk that, it's for the chip lead to jockey for. I mean, and not even needing to really do it, right? He just like, this pot's small.
I like that, fighting for every chip.
Wow. And I do want to remind you guys that is a 50. Oh, and gets it through. I mean, if you're going to do it, you might as well. He's got no shot clock to boot against the other players, 6 minutes and change. We are, again, playing to a winner, 3-handed. Everyone guaranteed 242,000. Big pay jump, 67K between the next one. And then it will be a really large 85,000. You can type in your GGPoker username, keyword GGPoker, space nutcase, space your GGPoker username. $50 or $100 coming your way, and the tweet is out. I did put that link in there. So we are here now playing to a winner. Daniel, what do you think so far? Are you liking it? Do you feel, I mean, we're 3-handed and it's moving pretty fast.
It's moving very fast. Yeah, faster than I thought. And the level of play is very good. Obviously I haven't seen any like huge blunders. But also, I mean, who am I kidding? Like, all these players are way better than I am. So I feel kind of honored to be able to provide some color commentary from my end here.
And this is kind of a crazy raise, and then
look at this.
And then he gets there. I mean, he gets there at the ace-4, and this against top pair.
By the way, the chat seems to agree with you. I haven't seen a 2 for Phil Hellmuth, so I've seen a bunch of 1s agreeing that Phil Hellmuth is a great poker player, and I tend to agree.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give him credit. I'm a huge Hellmuth. I'm a big advocate of his game and what he does, and he just has so much, pageantry to him. He just really is a spectacle. Like, he makes everything kind of more exciting, fun, and he walks in a room, you can feel his presence. He also towers, right? He's tall, and he just kind of has this way about him. He's such a gamer. Yeah. He just really is. He's so focused. You hear him. He's involved with Nutcase. We're invested in a bunch of companies. He will literally just disappear. Like, he goes in focus mode during the WSOP. Doesn't even want to talk, do stuff. Like, he is just locked in on his mission and his focus, and that's something to be said. And this is going to be a tough fold, having top pair and no spade. But look at this, just finds it. This is like, the crazy thing is, these players make so many good decisions today. There's very rare. We've seen great bets, great folds, and again, really Rodrigo just doesn't even think long there. Just gets rid of top pair.
Wow.
And blinds are up 50, 100,000. Makes it a little easier to know how many big blinds you divide it by that. So we got 90 blinds, 60 blinds, 52 respectively. A lot of money to play for. Shot clock not available from Romanovskyi. He has the chip lead. Going to limp the 8-6 suited. Considering to raise. Doesn't. Queen deuce checks back. Middle pair now for Romanovskyi. Out of position. I guess some respect here. And also just, they're deep. Doesn't want to blow up the 8-6 suited and get lifted off it. So he's just going to limp and then call a raise if he were to be raised, but it was check. And that's a welcome card. The queen deuce off, random queen hits it. And 8-6 now in second place. Rodrigo with the queen. Does he want to bet? No. Decides to check back, and surely if it checks here, I'll go for a value bet, and if there's a bet, maybe just call. Could be a blocker bet.
Probably just call. Check. Yeah. And we bet call, especially for this bet size. It's over pot.
Yep. Yeah, interesting hand. Not too crazy again. Everyone kind of healthy right now. Blinds are at 50, 100K. Everyone got a decent stack, and here's a pretty big lineup of hands. Jacks, right? King, queen versus the small blind.
It's definitely not a cold deck today. I think we've seen some big pre-flop setups.
Yeah. And I think a lot of situations you'll see the king queen 3-bet, though here with the stack size and the juncture of the tournament just decides to call. And good thing he would have got played back at. Now with the diamond, certainly going to be continuing. Doesn't improve with any equity. King high still can be good though, right? It's just against the button open and a flat. So I would expect to, depending on the sizing, be plain. Continue, and that is a big bet though. Man, Romanovskyi really showing us.
He loves to blast the big.
He's showing us that he's putting some. He's laying some bets down. He's putting people on the pressure cooker.
Both with bluffs and with value bets. Just making people sweat.
Queen 10, 4-5, gut shot for Romanovskyi, 10 middle pair there. Queen with a spade. We'll start betting. Gotta believe at least gonna be taking a peel. Although I guess the 3 non-spade, it starts getting thin, but he does call 4-5 in his mind. Could be good. It's not, and he does whiff here. Queen 10. And a 5. So gonna make a pair.
It's gonna be check, I imagine.
Yeah, with the 10, Jack X beats you now. Just put you up to important pot. Doesn't seem like gonna do much good by value betting. And 6.7, so things are tight, and you are behind, right? So we got 8.7 and 5, so it's 13.7 to 6.6. You're about a 2-to-1 deficit for a dinner, Daniel. The audience is in favor for a $100 ticket at the moment. Not guaranteed though, to be 50 or 100, and we are still going to be battling it out. No deal making. That's another thing. No deals in the GG Million. So there's sometimes you see that in big tournaments. There's a software players can look at the chip value and break up the money or leave some to play for. Here, that is not the case. It is winner gets the prize of what that first is. There's no chopping up. 3-way payouts there. A lot of money, 152K between first and third. So as we mentioned,
those are big jumps.
Yeah, a lot of money to play for. 10K buy-in, 15 buy-ins up for grabs. An hour and 50 minutes in. Again, the Champions League, those sweating. Dortmund up 1-0 today, so 2-0 right now. It is not
Hummels
over.
scored the goal, I read.
Yeah, it's 2. So they're up 2-0 in aggregate. Yeah.
How old is that guy now? 50?
What's that?
How old is Hummels? Yes, we can consult.
He's 59.
He's got to be up there, right?
59. There we go. Ace-7, Jack-4, and Ace-7 going to win a nice pot, putting up over 9.7 million, closing on that 10 million, almost the same amount of chips as his 2 opponents combined. Good situation for Romanovskyi. Rodrigo is your second place, not far behind. And again, we did see that he's showing that he plays like he's isolating, he's raising some weak hands. He limp raised the ace-5 off, small blind, big blind early in this tournament. So playing well, and has got himself a situation, or her, we don't know. It's an unknown player. Jack-5 has the best hand. 8-6 though, open-ended. Definitely going to be playing. Brick, Jack high in the lead. As you're eligible for that giveaway, GGPoker space nutcase and your GGPoker username. Jack-5 is going to go for a big bet.
I like that
nice bet here.
I like that bet a lot. He can represent all the ace X there. It's a good board to do it. Pretty sure we'll see a fold now.
The thing with the 8-6 is it's just, if you knew your pairs were somehow good too, but the price is not so great. There's also some cards where like you could hit and make your hand and be not, bluffing and get in trouble. So I'm a little surprised he's taking this long, but
and you're the bottom end too, right?
Raising.
It's like even 10-8 I would fold here, and 8-6 is obviously worse.
You might be thinking of raising. As crazy as that sounds,
it'd be very ballsy if he raised.
That would be crazy, but I just think calling is not a good option there.
No, that's why I'm not surprised by the fold here.
Yep. Yeah, 3-handed here. Queen-5 suited, Queen-10, Ace-5, all reasonable hands. Ace-5 covering, just calls. Definitely could 3-bet.
It's a good board to see that, especially in position. I think for a while, people got crazy if c-betting out of position. I think it was a very, very big leak that players had. But this is great.
3 suited hands, Ace-10 suited, 4-7 suited, 10-6 suited. Everyone with something. 4-7 suited. Looks really nice, but it's in a small blind, not closing the action. And
no, you're gonna.
He's gonna go ahead and put it in a little blackjack maybe player. On the 7-4 in there as a 3-bet. And actually, it's crazy because Rodrigo's got a premium hand and now isn't going to love the action. Still may play. I mean, he's considering potential. I mean, he's also probably noticing Romanovskyi with the over bets, playing a little bit wild, right? It's on delay, doesn't get to see some of this yet, but it's just if you're there and you can feel it. He's chip leader. He's coming in and just big moment there. All options
It's not
available.
an easy spot. That's a really difficult spot there. I find with ace 10 suited. I feel like all three options were okay, justifiable, if you will.
Yeah.
Like calling, raising, folding, it all makes sense in this spot.
Frank Kersey from Germany in the house. What's up, Germany? Good to see everyone. This is a very international crew. We have got ourselves a stacked final table again, down to 3. A little bit more unknowns. Rodrigo is the player with maybe the most experience. 10 final tables, looking for his first GGMillion win. Has 9 million in earnings, and is in now like tied for second. So got the work cut out. Picks up a flush draw. Going to keep on betting here, and nice bet. Nice spot to semi bluff there with the draw. Right, if your opponent doesn't have a jack, isn't going to feel too comfortable, you may even earn yourself a cheap river. And that is a nice pickup.
Oh.
Going to put something out on Twitter as well, but I got Ninja on the podcast. My 200th podcast is this Thursday. So we're going to give a giveaway and do some questions if you guys want to ask Ninja, have a thought on that. And Daniel, again, would love to have you on coming up here to talk about Shopify business and Nutcase as well as many other things. And if you guys have questions, let me know. If you have one too, Daniel, let me know. I mean, we got to spend and play a bunch of poker. I know you know him, but if you got any good questions, let me know, because I'm excited to get to pick Ninja's brain. This is going to be a very fun stream. The guy talks so much, right? It's funny when I'm a streamer, I talk a lot. I streamed on Twitch for a long time, and I talk a ton and to myself. So it's like he's a guy. You saw on the show, right? I mean, it's hard to get words in. Like the guy's he's got so much banter and stuff to say. He's
got energy.
He's a live one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun though. That was a big spot. Gets a set versus a pair. Didn't get too crazy here.
Did you catch the river? He makes a pair at the river. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were close to getting Mr. Beast, as far as I know, for that last game, and I think it could have ballooned the game out of proportions too. Because if you watch the first game with Mr. Beast and who else was there, Keating, Botez, Ninja, that was a very big game.
Yeah, no, Ninja, Keating's a legend. It's funny. I know Alan from the same time I met a bunch of my friends now, 20 years later. We met playing cards in Windsor, Canada when we were under 8. Well, I mean, not 21, because it was 19 there. You know the laws in Canada. Yeah. So I met him in 2004 or 5. So like 20 years ago. Yeah, I've known Alan forever. Great player and fun guy, and makes games big. Mr. Beast too loves to gamble and push up variance and have a good time. So yeah, that would have been quite a concoction for chaos and maybe a run it back. Right? We said monthly or quarterly. What are we doing? That was too much. That was a lot of fun. I think quarterly is more realistic, right?
Quarterly is more realistic, yes.
Yeah. Be a little too aggressive. Oh, deuces, aces, just call. King, right. 6. Both players with the heart. Aces love the board. I guess strongly lose the king X, lose the 6s. Deuces here is gonna either be calling or raising, just to see where it's at. Check the temperature. Windsor, there you go, vibes. That's right. Used to be Caesars Windsor, now Casino, or used to be Casino Windsor, now Caesars Windsor. And I used to play a lot of poker there. Heart, both players with the heart. Aces comfortably ahead here. And is going to pot control. And based on how Romanovskyi plays, maybe just kind of feels he's willing to bluff, or he does lose to some flushes. He has the nut flush blocker card. He loses the king X, decides to switch it up a little. And look at this, though. Romanovskyi just seems to know, right? He puts pressure on. Here he says, hey, I have a pair. It's some showdown.
Yeah.
And a bet by Rodrigo. Romanovskyi, again, playing really well. See if he can get the right decision here. And does. No time. You see that time bank, though? It does come into play. A little less time to think. And there, got the right decision, but it makes it harder.
Yeah, he burned through most of his time during a hand what we thought was an obvious fold, but he must have had a reason for why he burned through those minutes.
Yeah, it looks like a new table I'm noticing here for, again, it looks cool. GG, always the best software, innovative, and there's a lot of action coming up online and live. And man, I'll tell you what, the WSOP, it comes fast, right? That's one of the things, loving poker, you know, like you have a child, it's like with the birthdays, kind of for kids reminder, and then WSOP, it's like, wow, it's summer, it feels like it was just the WSOP, and it's back to another series. I hope you guys have a lot of luck out there. Please say hello if you see me out there. Daniel, how much do you expect to play? Are you going to go in and out?
I probably have to go to Vegas for different reasons, and if I am in Vegas and see if I can play maybe 1 or 2 events, that would be great, but if I can't, then that's just it. But my favorite events were typically the 6 max events, WSOP, like the 5 and 10K 6 max. I think that's some really, really good poker. And also you get to play like a wider range if you play 6-handed, right? I don't care too much about playing 10-handed poker. It's just too nitty and you're just waiting a long time.
Yeah, that's true. I think they've adjusted that too, where it's 9. I think generally it's 9, but there have been times where 10-handed poker is pretty rough. I mean, that is like, you know, when you have to get kings or you're getting ace king suited and you're like, oh, it's probably not even the best hand. Like that's tough, right? You start like getting out the door some of this like 3 ace.
You still raise pot 5 callers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the 6 max are tough. Like they have very, very good fields.
Yeah, 10-7 suited 9s. Limp, nice limp here from Rodrigo. We've seen an aggressive play here from our. Just call me. We'll say his last name's. I think it ends in chin. I really don't know how to even pronounce that. Does check back. 9s gets 2 over. We'll call him IPH. What I say, like Phoenix. How would you take a crack at that name?
Oh my God. Ivshni? I don't know.
Yeah, that's not easy, but we've been calling him Venezuela. Well, we'll call him IP. IP is in the house. He's got. But
don't you think the H belongs to the P somehow?
Yeah, he's in there.
What do you do with the X?
He is in there, and it's evened out now. Romanovskyi's lost a bit of chips. 7.6 tied with Rodrigo. Is going to raise 8-10 off. Going to call hard.
We got any Venezuelan in the chat that can like tell us how to pronounce the name? If it's something Venezuelan.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. And 9's going to go ahead and continue keeping the lead on. Does want to protect against some random overcards, or you know, he can get some value out of even hearts. So he does bet, does pick it up.
He or she plays well too. Like I know,
that's true.
At some point they were short stack too, and survived all the other players down to the last 3.
And a king 7 suited going to go ahead and take it up. Queen 8 suited. This is kind of a weird one, right? Where it's like kind of, you got straight potential flush potential. You're dominated though by hands and you're in position, and it starts getting close to one appeal. Also, Romanovskyi's been pretty aggressive. He will pick that up.
Yes, yeah.
Picks it up again.
I like the fold.
Yeah, very, very disciplined. And again, right in the mix. King, queen now, blind on blind, jack 5, has the advantage, has the best hand. Gonna shoot this one up, I would bet. Does so. And just picks it up. And blinds are up 60, 120K.
iPhone-y? Oh, X is an O. iPhone loves chin. iPhone, yeah.
I guess you're right.
Maybe it's
we'll call him iPhone. That looks good. And there's the nuts. This is one where, based on how Romanovskyi plays, this could get a little spicy, right? He's got a blocker. He's got a heart. Maybe he wants to get a little out of line here. He's also just made great decisions. Honestly, I think he's played so well today.
Yeah.
And he based on there you go. He's sort of taking spots, and this is one where he is misstepping in a big way. And interesting though, is he going to follow through with this? And if you have King Queen, you go from the nuts to being worried that there could be some King X, Queen X heart draws, and he is going to unload the clip here. And I don't think
he should. I mean, he has the flush and the straight draw.
I don't think Rodrigo.
I love the Rodrigo flat like that he didn't re-raise. He just flatted it against an aggressive opponent. He's in position. That makes
he may rip this. He may just go for the jugular here. Honestly, how he plays.
That would be sick.
Wow. Shows the double barrel slowdown though. And King Queen, you got to feel good. And does your opponent ever with the SPR of 1 bet, check raise, get there, bet, and then check to you? I think it's just, again, there's 2 pairs. There's a lot of hands that are going to be able to call a bet here. I think that he's going to see what he does size wise. I mean, wow, checks back, gives the opponent a lot of respect there, and maybe just feels.
I'm surprised by the check back actually. I mean, there's the ace 10s and ace jacks and other ace X that could get some value.
Yeah, I mean, again, just Romanovskyi showing he's dangerous. He demands respect. He's putting his opponents in tough spots. He's controlling hands, and in Rodrigo's perspective, he now has half the chips in play. He covers both players by double. I think just decided that risk reward to go for a value when he's could be somehow beat, and just wants to win that important pot, in good shape now.
Earlier on my poker career, I was a WSOP, and I met, I think it was Xuan, I met in the hallway, and I talked to her about, this is one player at my table that I find it's very intimidating. He's so aggressive. He always raises. And then she said, remember, he also only has 2 cards and you have 2 cards, right? It's not that they have more cards. And it's like such a simple statement, but it's profound if you think about it.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. And I think there are some of these players that, demand and sort of, they're scary, right? This is like some of the players I've talked to, friends that have had the unreal heaters in their career. You can name them, like Fedor, Dan Coleman, Addamo, these guys. Like there is something about when you're playing with them, they would say too, like people would fold their big blind like more often, or they just fold like they're scared. They feel like what you have, right? And this is like a huge thing in anything, in sports and in poker and stuff, confidence and being able to sort of command that at the table. And there's something to be said about that inertia, the momentum, the fear you put in, that you get people not to value bet hands. You get people to not bluff hands, right? Like you get people. I think that's something the power Helmuth has, some power that great players have. They get to kind of put amateurs on freeze, or they get amateurs just kind of, or let's not even say amateurs. They get players to freak out, right? Like guys, Helmuth knows when someone's dying to bluff them, when like they're playing bad, they're playing too many hands, they're trying to bluff them. So like, I think he really exploits that. He gets to pick up on that. He gets sort of like gifts, but then he also gets people that want to be his friend or get respect, and they just play really tight against him. So like that helps a lot when you kind of get that yo-yo force energy of that, I think. And that's something that he really, him amongst others, right? Well-known pros, I think, have advantages in these large fields where they kind of get this sort of like two-edged thing of where it's easier to maneuver. I think that's a very common power that players have, and especially against complete amateurs.
Is there someone that intimidates you when you play against them?
What's that? Is
there someone that you can think of that intimidates you at the table?
I mean, like, no, but I played some, 50Ks, 100Ks. I played a bunch of 25 and stuff. And like, it's very clear these guys in Triton, I do a lot of commentary, and I've done these guys that are like, again, the top 25 really in the world, not like, whatever the bet, like you can feel, the Mateoses, these guys that are just like, like rock, like, they're playing Steven Chidwick, these Jason Kuhn, these guys that are just like, like, they are so in the matrix that like, you're you just say, are you ready to battle for 8 hours every hand and like be off your phone and like watch every pot? Like that's like the level of focus that they have. You know what I mean? Like this, like, wow, nice bluff.
I have the advantage of knowing Steven and Jason off the feld, so I know they're really nice people. So, which makes it harder for them to intimidate me. But I would say Adrian Mateo is definitely top 3 scary players. The other guy I would add to the list is Eric Seidel. Every time I play against him, he has such a soul read. Like, I swear he looks in your eyes and through your eyes and into your soul, and he knows exactly what you have and knows when to value bet and when to call your bluff. And I don't know how he does it, because you know, I think I minimized my tells over the years, and I get away with a lot, but not against Eric Seda.
This is big hands here. Sixes and ace king. I mean, this is, are we just going to see this go in? Yeah, it is. It's going to be on their backs here. Sixes, ace king. We are going to see a big flip in a big moment of the tournament. Ace on the flop again. Has backdoor diamonds. Now he needs a 6 or a 6 only, or we are going to be to a, well, he still would be in actually, and it is not a 6. And that is going to be a spot where we are going to be super short from Venezuela player, as the iPhone, what did we go with? We said iPhone loves chin. Is not loving. I hope he's not playing on his phone there. This is a tough beat there. This is
ace-X are hitting it today. Like, right? Like all the all-ins with ace-X is running really good.
Ace King has been on fire today. Ace King is on fire, and we got a pretty fair fight here. 6-9 suited, weighing out the options. Does it want to wait or roll the dice here and try to get back into it, as is the massively short a stack with each player about 10 million. This is close. I mean, I guess you
5 big blinds just under.
Yeah, you just think you have a better spot, and also, I mean, you're not banking on a 10 million, 20 million chip pot to the two. Throws the emoji, throws the water on there. Good sport. I mean, that's a tough one. That is a big equity pot, of course, guaranteed. If he were to win that, he would knock a player out and get the immediate 67,000 as it stands, short, and gonna have his work or her work cut out for them, as it is looking like a third place finish. But hey, you've been there, Daniel. You've seen it. Chip in a chair. It happens. It's real. It's not over. Not over. Not the dream big blind hand. Wants 8-10 off, but not the worst hands. And Jack Queen suited also certainly going to be playing. Likely just call and then 8-10 off. Do you want to get in there? I guess. And here we go. Gets top pair, and everyone's got something. Everyone with something. There it is, a bet, not all in.
That's an interesting bet.
Pair, not diamond. This is everyone really did hit this board. All right. Wow. I mean, this is a lot. This is like, you got to pause. We almost got to take a snapshot here. We have A7. Okay, Jack Queen suited, open ended, 2 overs. Although that is going to be. That's enough, right? 8-10 looks like 8-10 has a straight, does not, and that is going to be Jack Queen getting the pot, taking the chip lead to heads up, as this will be a knockout and a third place finish for our friend iPhone Loves Chin. What a showing from Venezuela. 242,000 going there. Good game. The D-Negs goodbye has been waived, as there's a look at your payouts. Really healthy payouts today. Again, another really nice tournament. 394,000 up top. Going to play for that 85K to difference. No deal making. Here we go. First for second in the chip stacks are now pretty even as they battle. Money is on the table. Profiles on the side. And I think they just showed that was that flip with iPhone Loves Chin. Going to have to switch that graphic and put Rodrigo there. There you go. On cue. Rodrigo there. 2 experienced players. You can see their resumes in the GGMillion as well. And we are going to play. I would give the advantage here. I like how Romanovskyi plays. I feel like he's aggressive, over betting. He's just kind of playing. And again, Rodrigo, 10 final tables, feels like going to be time for him to get the win, as Romanovskyi has 3 final tables total. So again, more kind of one of those things, maybe just his time, but Romanovskyi very impressed with this play today.
Yep, both these guys. And don't forget, Romanovskyi is your team.
Yeah, we got ourselves we have a fair fight for dinner. Audience 50, 100. We got all of it, and I think I don't want to jinx you, but Dortmund is really they're dodging. I heard some barrage of stuff going on here. I think it's looking. I mean, they're getting close to the end of the game here.
Oh
and they
yeah, 90+2. Okay.
90th minute,
it's a little sweat.
Yeah,
I mean, even if they're tie, right, they're gonna make it to the final, so be good.
Yeah, they'd have to.
They're not gonna score 2 goals.
2 goals. All right, heads up for the title. Romanovskyi and Rodrigo, both players are looking for. I believe they're both looking for their first title, right? That's what we said. I think it is. It is. They're both. Neither player has won. So let's see. 4-8 off. This is just right into a top tier hand. Does Rodrigo flat or raise? Just calls, and we could see this could go fast based on Romanovskyi's style. Although Ace Jack suited doesn't get the greatest flop in the world. And I mean, honestly, this is one where maybe Romanovskyi slows down because the 7-7-3-3, like you guess your opponent just has ace high a lot, but man, he's going for it. He's really asking a tall task. And I like the bet, right? He could improve with the 4 and 8 if he's against ace high, and then even against a triple barrel here with ace high, it's wow.
Romanovskyi plays like he has to be somewhere.
This guy is a player. This guy is tough.
Oh yeah.
He's impressed me. He's got to be my MVP today, I think. I just feel like he's really played well.
Yeah.
Used a lot of time early, right? He hit the shot clock early to 0 like a while ago.
He got actually bullied by Rodrigo in a pot, in a pre-flop situation. And that's why he used all the shot clock. Not all of his, but a lot of the shot clock.
Which hand was that? I'm trying to think where.
He raised like a suited connector. It was like 8-7 of spades.
Oh yeah, it was 7-8 of spades.
Yeah.
And he has taken the foot off the gas at times. This 7 though, he's kind of connected in this board, and this is like not, he runs into the 6. The set. I wonder if it'll be a close eyes and call river. I guess that's Rodrigo's knows his opponent. He is just going to close his eyes. Takes a little bit of a risk of whatever getting there, but I think he just decides he's closing his eyes and going to call it down. And does he shell it off here?
Big pot.
Kind of has to. One of the worst hands he has. Gives up though. We've seen him double barrel and then give up rivers in this similar spot. The queen 7 off. I am picking the winner. You guys still have time to hit the heart or the thumbs up button and type in GGPoker space nutcase space your GGPoker username or friends if you don't have one in a jurisdiction, and I will be giving away a $50 or $100 ticket. At the moment, it's looking like $100. No, wait, you have Rodrigo, right?
I have Rodrigo, yeah.
Okay, so it's fair fight right now. Fair fight, 50 or 100. Tweet is up. Tweet is also available for the giveaway. That is Jeff Bros Poker pin tweet. That is there for you guys and girls. That is available.
Oh, and he gets on the river. Look.
Daniel, make sure you get that retweet out, man. $50 goes a long way. Did you do that? Did you take a $50 bankroll back in the day and spin it up for your poker roll, or no? You got into poker later, right? You weren't back.
I got into poker later, yeah. I played home games mostly, and then when I first stepped foot in the casino, I set $500 aside, and that was my poker bankroll, and I ran that up quite substantially. And I had a little app that would track like how much I would buy in, how much I cash out for. And I'm not gonna lie, I ran like God the first few months. I ran really well.
That's a nice way to do it.
And then I mean that obviously helps, but
and we are going to see a re-raise. And again, Jack Queen off. Not much to do there. Does have a key heart. Bluffs and Rodrigo going to take the lead now. Has the lead. King 9, 6-3. Not too much excitement likely brewing here, though. But he is going to limp. Romanovskyi going for the limp. Rodrigo, let's see if he's going to be just checking back or with some air balls popping it up. It's just effectively small blind, big blind, right? Except the button is now the limp in the initial action. It has the first option, so it's going to limp and then gets raised. And actually, it's going to get the limp call. 6-3 going to outflop here. Jack 4-6, 6 pairs the middle pair.
What do you think
9,
about
2
that raise
overs to
size?
the middle.
It was this very big raise from Rodrigo. And I assume he would be very polarized, and he does it with his worst hands and some of his best hands.
Wow.
Look at that call. Wow. Both displays. These guys are fearless.
They're playing for a title. They put on a show here for us down the stretch. Appreciate everyone watching. King 9 off. Checks and 6-3. I mean, pretty good run out considering the action. For 6-3. No spade comes. 4 pairs. Hard to make a pair. King 9 going to give this one up. Romanovskyi really has not unloaded the third barrel, huh? He's been just like, he's probing, he bets hard aggressively, but when he gets confronted, he's been sort of slowed down.
Well, to be fair, like the first 2 barrels are about the size of 3 barrels of other players, because he bets really big. He bets really big, right? It's not a bad strategy.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, listen, like I said, I think he's been the most dangerous, effective player at the table. I think he's played really well. Kind of has a little bit of a domino-esque game, the big bets, and the kind of puts you in the tank. You can't just sort of coast around, and you're ready to put pressure on. And he's really illustrated a tough brand of poker, and he's finds himself heads up now, 3-1 dog, 8-9 suited, gonna raise, big raise.
Look at Rodrigo applying the pressure. That's awesome.
E6, 8-6. There is the limps. We start seeing this more. What are your thoughts about the limping with sort of stack size, like to limp heads up?
Personally, I like limping small blind versus big blind. I think the limping on a heads up is a little different because you're in position, right? So I'm less of a fan when it's heads up, but I like it a lot when it's more, when it's a full table. But it's just because I'm too lazy to learn the nuance of like having 2 different ranges for limping and opening there in that spot.
A6 got out flopped, and then not a great run out. 8-6 off. Gonna go for a bet here on the river. Decent value bet. I mean, considering the action, kind of some scary, obviously overs. 8-6 does get called by ace. Nice bet there from Rodrigo.
Very nice.
Queen 3, 10-4. He typed something, couldn't see what he wrote there, but he is, again, they're in a heads-up match, no deal making available. They're going to play for the 85,000 and change, the GGMillion earnings, the points, the prestige, first title for either one of these players. Whoever wins today, 10th final table for Rodrigo, 3rd for Romanovskyi, and I am been impressed. And again, Daniel, you got the result. I guess you'll take it. You might have to watch that replay, have a cold one, and enjoy the replay on it. I think you see by now they did take it. They're through Dortmund in the UEFA Champions League final. I saw someone asking if U.S. watches Champions League soccer or football, if you will, and the worldwide way of calling is more popular now. It really is, Ben. I've been watching a long time. I have my background, played in college. I love soccer, but it's Champions League's amazing. Soccer's amazing. Love watching.
What position did you play in college?
Center mid. Played center midfield, attacking center mid.
So you do all about strategy and playmaking?
I played forever, man. I love it. Love it. We're always U.S. a little behind the ball, the curve with the world, but now picking up a little bit. And MLS, good to see Massvie here as well in the backyard. He's in Miami, so that's nice.
So as you can probably hear from my accent, I grew up in Germany, and of course everyone plays soccer growing up. That's the only sport kids play when they grow up. And I'd say I was average. I wasn't like particularly good, but when I moved to Canada, I played recreationally, and I figured I'm actually pretty good compared to all the other Canadians here. So then I became more serious in playing, and I played 5 times a week.
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
I
it's
just love
fun. It's definitely noticeable, the quality. I mean, I think that's what's important is from the ground up now, the coaching, the teachings, the methodology stuff's, academies and stuff's changing a lot, but definitely the US is catching up with the world with
the
that.
US 100%. Yeah. Canada, not so much yet. There's a lot of raw talent that I'm seeing, but
this could be for the title.
Yeah.
King 3 to 8. King. He
Wow.
pairs it though. Finds it. The heart though,
The
3
heart.
to 1. He needs an 8 or a heart.
And
we could have a new champion. Rodrigo is it's not a heart, but it's 3
7.
across. What is it? It's a slow peel. 7. Wow, that was a super slow peel, and it was a diamond as well. But man, Rodrigo could have closed it out there. What a sick one. Not over yet though. And I'll tell you, Romanovskyi, Rodrigo knows. He knows he's tough. He knows he's a good player. Wants to get the win. Of course, it's never over till it's over. But that was a big get there. And man, that would have been. That was almost it. I'm going to announce the winner as this could be over in any second, guys. The last second to get in, hit the thumbs up, type in the keyword, and I will pick a winner. And we'll get that in there. Trying to see. I don't know if they're still in the chat. I think I'm going to pick it up right now. I will copy paste and we will have a winner and you will get the ticket. Let's see. What do we say? It's 50 or 100. It's 50 if Rodrigo wins, 100 if Romanovskyi wins. And we have a dinner on the line, Daniel. We're talking, you got kids, I got kids. +1. Joelle can come, my wife. Like, this is a real dinner, man. Let's see.
That's a dinner at IKEA with the hot dogs, or?
What's that?
That's an IKEA dinner with the hot dogs.
Hey, I mean, listen, I've had, they do actually have great hot dogs.
They do have great hot dogs.
That's not, anything goes.
It's not the worst.
Not the worst. Five, 9, ace 7. Each player with the pair. So hard. I say it every stream. It's so hard to make a pair. No limit. Texas Hold'em. Yes. Heads up. Ace top pair is nice. 9 feels like it could be enough. Romanovskyi definitely fighting for pots. Checks back, and this could reward him with some pot on the river. I think basically how Romanovskyi's been approaching. He doesn't really do a lot of blocker bets. We've seen him kind of like, as I say that, he does go a 10th pot. So we haven't really seen a lot of this. Ace 7, probably going to want to be, for that size, disregard the bet and be betting something. Maybe get value from a jack or a 9. Very hard to not have the best hands. Just calls, though. That's fine. Probably didn't leave too much value there.
No, that's fine.
And 7-10 versus 8-9. Nice PLO hand there. 7-10, 8-9. I was playing some PLO cash yesterday. You do play a little PLO?
I play a little. You would want to have me on your table because I will donate a lot of money to you.
I love it.
I'm a very bad PLO player. Look at this. He flops the nuts though. And wow. 2 pairs, bottom 2. That could be.
This could be
it. This could be it.
And I announced the winner, Thailand Lapdog. That is going to be our winner. And we are going to see, this has got to be, I mean, this is a pretty big cooler in here as we see the time go down, the formality at this point. It's going to be nuts straight versus bottom 2 pair, and a 10 running diamond's good too. So let's see if we can see this roll out. Is it going to be Rodrigo? He can't believe, I mean, can you look at this action? We say so hard to make a pair, yet it's 2 pair versus the flop straight. And Rodrigo using a little bit of that time bank to get it in. Romanovskyi not going to be messing around. He's got no time bank. He likes his hand, and going to see the bad news that he is behind. He's got 4 outs plus the running diamonds. He is a big dog about 22% of the time. There's a 6, no help. 1 card, 1 to come. Rodrigo from Brazil. Can he be your champion? It looks clean. That is your winner. That is a lady, the queen on the river. He is saying something. I don't know what he's saying, but I think it's maybe parabens. Congrats to Rodrigo, as that is your champion. First win, 10th final table, Rodrigo Sirichuk. Congrats to you, my friend. Again, the Brazilians out there, they are in there in the chat. They're going wild, and a lot of respect for your game. Congrats to you. 10 times the charm, man. It's so hard to win, Daniel. There it is, 10th try, gets his title. We were just seeing last week, I think Yuri had like 19 final tables and just got a second. But Daniel, give me your takeaways. Are you a professional commentator now? Do you love it? Do you like it? What's going on? Talk to me about it.
No, I suck at it, clearly. I don't think I have the aptitude for commentating. It was fun, obviously, but I'm also, I don't know what exactly to do, how to balance the reading the chat versus answering questions versus answering you versus watching the game. But it's definitely a fun experience. I hope I didn't bore the chat too much with my rambling, which I tend to do sometimes.
Listen, I had a blast. You're welcome on anytime. We're going to do a podcast where we can't ramble as well. We'll be having that coming up. Again, I mentioned Ninja on my podcast this Thursday, 200 guests, and we had a blast playing last week. I appreciate you guys inviting me out for Nutcase and doing that special stream. That is something you can watch on PokerGo or Ninja's stream. It was a 5-hour stream. We played Hold'em 5100. Had a blast today. Appreciate it, and really saw some high-level stuff today. We'll be back same time, same place next week for the GG Millions. It'll be episode 52 next week. Another big guest, and of course, the biggest prizes, biggest players in the world, as always. Daniel, thank you so much for the time, and I will see you in Vegas, if not before. Thank you so much.
See you in Vegas. I'm itching to play now. All right. Bye-bye.
Awesome.